sent to prison with a 13-year sentence, I believe, and he served about 10 years of it, and he ended up dying in prison.
That's right.
And according to Peter's account, Irwin Schiff, at 87 and frail and blind and hardly able to breathe, died shackled to his bed.
Oh, man.
That is so disgusting.
Yeah, they wouldn't let him out. I know we had Peter Schiff, his son, on the show a few weeks ago, and he was telling us that he knew his dad was close to death, and they wouldn't give him, like, dead man's waiver or whatever, where they let you out.
It's a hardship parole situation or something like that.
Yeah, where they basically let you out to die in your family's house or your hospital bed instead of in your prison cell.
Well, no, in this case, he probably was in a hospital. If he was shackled to a bed, he was likely at a hospital where the taxpayer was paying for him to be.
Yeah.
So, John, I mean, besides announcing the news, how do you feel about that?
Well, I think there's a very simple lesson from it, and I haven't heard too many people talk about it yet. But the simple lesson is that if you favor the state and if you favor taxation, well, then you necessarily favor this outcome, because there's no way to have the state without imprisoning people who dissent, and without being willing to kill them if they sufficiently resist.
Well, he broke the law, John.
Yeah, he did break the law, and you know, and if that's someone's justification for why it's all right to do this to him, well, then they have to live with that.
Well, hey, that's our system, and it's the best one in the world. And if you don't like it, then you should leave.
Yeah. Well,
that's all they got.
Yeah.
If you don't like it, you should work to change it.
Yeah. Well.
Yeah. Well, he did work to change it, and he put his ass on the line to change it.
He was the closest thing, and one of the closest things we had to a political prisoner in this country. I mean, really,
there's plenty of those.
He was in.
Mark.
Yeah. I mean, but he's a big name. He was in for an opinion.
Ross Ulbricht is a political prisoner, in my opinion, as well.
He did more than Schiff did.
Well, actually, Ross just made a website for the most part. Schiff sent in 0 returns. So that's, if you want to put yourself on the radar of the IRS, try doing what Irwin Schiff did and send in 0 returns.
You can
avoid. And what I mean by that is you send in paperwork, because I've looked at his book previously that he wrote about this. You're supposed to write something in about 0 income or whatever. So he actually was sending in paperwork to the IRS as part of his tax freedom advocacy.
Then he is sending in a return.
Yeah, but...
Well, he was probably more imprisoned for advising others to do that than just doing it himself, because people don't usually get this kind of sentence merely for tax evasion. They could have seized his property. They could have extracted the money from him otherwise. But what he was probably imprisoned for most of all was advising other people to put 0 on their tax return.
Absolutely, and that's the reason why they went after Mark Emery, the Prince of Pot from Canada. The reason why, they put him in prison, whereas there were plenty of people selling cannabis seeds on the internet. But Mark Emery was like, public enemy number 1, because he was using his profits to reinvest them into the marijuana freedom movement, to the marijuana decrim/legalization movement, and that's why he was their number 1 target. So certainly your advocacy of more liberty is going to get you targeted. Look at our friend Ademo Freeman, who we talked with Brian Sumner from copblock.org last night. Ademo, he was arrested, and he's being targeted because he's the head of CopBlock. He's the creator of copblock.org. By the way, quick update, Ademo is out of the jail tonight. We can tell you more about that here in a little bit. But John, anything else you want to share regarding Irwin Schiff?
No, well, just that a lot of people criticize Irwin Schiff because maybe some of the things he did were unwise. That he could certainly have avoided prison by compromising, but you could say that about Gandhi or Martin Luther King. Or if Glenn Greenwald ends up in prison next month or next year, you could say that about him. I don't think that's a valid criticism of Irwin Schiff.
Yeah, I agree. I agree 100%. I think we've learned things from the Irwin Schiff situation, but we shouldn't just toss him away like so much trash. As far as I'm concerned, he's a man who stood up for his convictions, and therefore he's a hero. I think that the smallest step that should be taken here is that Americans should realize all the prison population goes in together. this guy's a non-violent offender and could easily, in many countries around the world, would have simply had an ankle bracelet put around his ankle, that this was a political prisoner situation. He wasn't, no one thought for 1 second that this guy was going to run out with an axe and cleave someone's skull. There was no reason to put him in prison. Prison is a place for people who are violent and a danger to other people.
The government is more likely to put somebody in jail for disobedience than anything else. I remember when I was in jail, which isn't even prison, but when I was in jail for doing civil disobedience, there was one guy in there for driving to work while license suspended. He was in there for a year sentence for that, compared to guys who were actually there for DUI. They actually put someone in some danger, or could have, in theory, put someone in some danger on the roads, and they were only in there for, one of them was 21 days, another was 3 days.
Yeah, that's disobedience in the sense that the licensed, non-licensed driver guy just keeps on driving without a license.
Right. It's the disobedience to the state's demands that is something they see as the true crime, because they don't want people to follow in Irwin Schiff's footsteps. They don't want people to disobey their demands and their ordinances. To them, that's the real important issue, because it's truly the crux of their control over us. There aren't as many of them as there are of us, and if people stopped obeying so much, they'd have a real hard time with that. They wouldn't be able to put the genie back in the bottle if people would just stop taking them seriously and just started ignoring their demands. John, thanks for calling tonight. I do appreciate hearing from you, and thanks for sharing that terrible news with us about Irwin Schiff. Unfortunately, I'm sure he's not the only person who's in jail for not paying taxes. Of course, people as high profile as Wesley Snipes have gone to federal prison for that. Although I still recommend you should keep the money that you earn. I think more people should do that. In fact, there are millions of people who don't pay taxes here in the United States. Many of them aren't as high profile as Irwin Schiff, so they kind of get away with it, at least for some period of time. And I think that's it's going to take some kind of risk, in order to get to more freedom in our lifetime. If that's what you want to see happen, you're not going to be able to beg your way to freedom. I don't think that's ever been a particularly effective means of it. You have to be willing to take some risks. The slaves had to escape from the plantation. They just, you can't convince master to just go ahead and let you leave in most cases.
Well, I'm sure that the slaves that were better at kissing butt had life a bit better than those that didn't. But
whoopie-doo.
Yeah,
okay, that's true right now, Mark. If you kiss your master's ring hard enough, lick the boots hard enough, he might beat you a little less than the other slaves. That's great. 855-450-FREE, 855-450-3733. How's that boot taste anyway? You can join us here on the live Sunday edition of Free Talk Live, whether you want to discuss tax freedom advocates or whatever's on your mind. We got the drone details coming up.
Remember when people used to wash stuff by hand, like clothes and dishes? Or how about this one? Remember when you had to wash your CPAP system by hand? Wait, you still wash your CPAP by hand? Boy, have we got to catch you up. Listen, SoClean.com has created the world's first and only automated CPAP cleaner and sanitizer. It's faster, more sanitary, and a heck of a lot easier than whatever you're doing. And for a limited time, you can try it at home risk-free for 30 days. You better get on this. Just call 1-800-951-9458. SoClean is completely automated and hands-free. It destroys 99.9% of all CPAP germs. Clean your CPAP system in minutes with no water or hassle. Talk about life-changing. Now, remember when you called for your in-home trial from SoClean.com? Wait, you still haven't called? Here's the number again. It's a limited-time offer, so don't wait. Call 1-800-951-9458. 1-800-951-9458.
My name is Bill Bonner, and I'm the president of the largest private news and research network in the world. And I paid for this airtime because I have an important message to the American people. There's a change coming that the government isn't telling you about. This change has deep implications for life in America, from where you shop to the doctors you visit and the family you want to protect. Look, I've made predictions like this before. Thing is, I was right then too. A few years ago, I warned that housing prices would collapse. They did. Before that, I warned that .com companies would crash. They did. Those who listened had a chance to save themselves. But this has nothing to do with the stock market. This will affect us all.
You can watch the video for free right now by going to disappearingwealth.com. Again, that's disappearingwealth.com.
Free Talk Live.
They have to pass a law that all the guns that are currently there have to disappear in a puff of smoke. That's what they have to do.
Oh, wait, you mean the bad guys won't actually give up their firearms when the authorities come around to confiscate them?
It doesn't really matter. They won't give up their firearms because we're going to pass a law.
Oh, because we pass a law, they'll just all disappear.
Right, yeah.
Man, it's just amazing how powerful laws are.
Yes.
How just
laws aren't a bunch of dumb crap written on paper. They actually do something. It's really, really stupid.
What will be stupid is if they vote for it.
Yeah, if
Take our guns.
You know, these criminals with the guns are going to kill people.
Yeah, they already are, apparently.
And if you don't have a weapon of your own, you're just as good as dead. Once the laws go into effect, that there shouldn't be any weapons anymore, because then they know that the good people don't have weapons.
Free Talk Live, 7 nights a week from 7 to 10 Eastern, live on the Liberty Radio Network at LRN.FM.
The three most important things you can do for Free Talk Live are: 1, share one episode a week on Facebook or in some other social networking site. 2, buy the things you buy online through shop.freetalklive.com. 3, give $5 a month to the AMP program. You likely buy all kinds of things online. Amazon is the largest online retailer. You can get what you need at the same prices with free Super Saver shipping by going to shop.freetalklive.com. Please do your online shopping at shop.freetalklive.com.
If you want to play online poker with Bitcoin, you need a site that's trustworthy and technically sound. The site managers of swcpoker.eu have proven their commitment to bringing you great gameplay from a site you can trust. swcpoker.eu. They have lots of new games too, including Chinese poker, and their Krill leaderboard is open right now. It's a beautiful site, easy to use with lots of players. Go on over to swcpoker.eu now and have some fun with your Bitcoin. swcpoker.eu.
If you enjoy LRN.FM, please contribute to your favorite shows via their websites and become an amplifier at amp.lrn.fm. That's amp.lrn.fm.
Hey, it's Free Talk Live. Join us right here. Our toll-free number is 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733. We've got Skype as well. Skype on in here. Our Skype username is lrn.fm. Later tonight on Skype, we will be expecting Ademo Freeman from copblock.org. He's out of jail, and a little earlier than expected. We'll explain what happened with all of that in a little bit. We are expecting him probably in the second hour of the program. It's Ian and Mark in the studio here with you tonight. Of course, you can call in and bring up anything you want. There's some shocking news. For some of you, it'll be shocking. For those of you who are used to hearing about how awful the government is, it probably won't shock you too much. About drones in the United States and their use outside of the United States might not be, let's say, as accurate in their targeting as you think they are. But first, I want you to know about SaveItPurse.com. If you shop on Amazon, you know they've already got a killer selection, pretty much everything you need for life, almost, except for, like, fresh fruit. They don't have that at Amazon, but they've got almost everything else.
You can get dried fruit.
So Amazon's awesome. There's no doubt about that. And we've been promoting shopping at Amazon for a long time, but now we can tell you how to actually save 20%. On average, you can save more than 20%. I've saved as much as 40%. Mark, you've saved as much as 45%.
Yeah, we got lucky with a 45%er.
On Amazon. And here's how you do it. You go to saveatpurse.com. That's save-a-t-purse, saveatpurse.com, and just get started. It's super easy. The trick is you need to have Bitcoin. If you don't have Bitcoin, you can't get these huge discounts. But imagine that. Let's say you're buying something nice like a new, let's say I got recently a power supply, one of those uninterruptible power supplies from Amazon.
Like a battery backup?
Yeah, 30% off.
Nice.
Those things aren't cheap to begin with.
30% is a huge savings.
Yeah. That adds up,
in real
too.
life, not like some kind of sale. Like a real life 30% savings, It's huge.
And you can do it every time. You can get 20, 25, 30% off, no problem, through saveatpurse.com. So get started over there. Even if you don't have Bitcoin yet, you can still go to saveatpurse.com and just get the ball rolling, get your account created, and then get some Bitcoin and start saving. Because why not? Why wouldn't you want to save 20% on all your purchases at Amazon. It's saveatpurse.com. So the second Snowden, as reported over at Wired.com. It's been just over 2 years since Edward Snowden leaked a massive trove of NSA documents. By the way, Edward Snowden has said that, there's more to come. The leaks are continuing as far as what Edward Snowden has to say.
Hard to believe.
It's also been more than 5 years since Chelsea Manning gave WikiLeaks a mega cache of military and diplomatic secrets. Now there appears to be a new source on that scale of classified leaks, this time with a focus on drones. What, you thought it was over? You thought that Ed Snowden was the last scandal?
No, the government stopped being corrupt.
Right.
We have it all fixed now.
Now they're honest. They finally have replaced one deck chair on another on the Titanic, and everything is totally fine. This ship's not taking on water. Don't you worry about it, folks. Look the other way. Be distracted by all these other issues. Hey, isn't that Caitlyn Jenner over there? 855-450-FREE if you want to comment. On Thursday, The Intercept published a groundbreaking new collection of documents related to America's use of unmanned aerial vehicles to kill foreign targets in countries ranging from Afghanistan to Yemen. The revelations about the CIA and Joint Special Operations Command actions include primary source evidence that as many as 90% of U.S. drone killings in one 5-month-long period were not the intended target.
90% were not the intended target.
As many
90%
as 90%.
Killed. Well, you can't necessarily call them innocent because they may have killed. Oh, we missed the wrong terrorist and got missed the right terrorist and got the wrong terrorist. But we do have to consider that all of these people are being killed without trial in a state of non-war. A lot of people will love to use this sort of fluid definition of what war is. The United States is not at war. It's not at war.
No, it hasn't been since what, World War II?
Not since 1942. The war has not been declared in this country since 1942. And if you want to act like you're at war, you should have to do the steps to be at war. Because if I just go take somebody and throw them in a cage, they call it kidnapping, unless you go through the proper legal procedures. And we're supposed to, a government's supposed to go through the proper legal procedures, but it doesn't.
Story here continues. So again, 90% of drone killings by the U.S. in a 5-month period were not the intended target. A former British citizen was killed in a drone strike despite repeated opportunities to capture him instead. And details of the grisly process by which the American government chooses who will die, down to the baseball cards of profile information created for individual targets, and the chain of authorization that goes up directly to the president. All of this new information, according to The Intercept, which, by the way... That's
right. By the way, the White House, in order to prevent, some of these crazy killings, 90% in a 5-month period of the not intended target, they took responsibility for every hit. And now that means that the responsibility for collateral damage, and by collateral damage, what I mean is murder, the responsibility for murder rests on the White House.
All of this new information, according to The Intercept, appears to have come from a single anonymous whistleblower. A spokesperson for the investigative news site declined to comment on that source, and that's a good idea. I'm sure whoever that person is, if they have not yet left the United States, should be planning to do so immediately in case their actual identity does somehow come out.
Oh, they're going to find it.
A spokesperson for the site declined to comment, but unlike the leaks of Snowden or Manning, the spilled classified materials are accompanied by statements about the whistleblower's motivation in his or her own words. Here is what that person has to say. Quote, "This outrageous explosion of watch listing, of monitoring people and racking and stacking them on lists, assigning them numbers, assigning them baseball cards, assigning them death sentences without notice on a worldwide battlefield, it was from the first instance wrong." The source told The Intercept, he said, or she, we don't know, "We're allowing this to happen. And by we, I mean every American citizen who has access to this information now, but continues to do nothing about it." Unquote.
I don't know what to do about it. I understand people want to make me responsible to some extent, and I feel a certain amount of responsibility.
Wait. You don't have access to the information.
I have the access to the information that the United States government killed 90% of the non-intended targets in a 5-month period.
But you didn't have that until 5 minutes ago.
I knew what was going on. All you have to do is read the news. The United States government is murdering children with remote control airplanes in the Middle East. But they've been doing it for years, and you care about Caitlyn Jenner, right? Like, that's the problem.
But he wasn't including you when he said we. He was talking about the people like inside the government.
Then he shouldn't have said citizens. He should have said shiftless, irresponsible government bureaucrats that murder for money. That's what he should have said.
No, he said every American citizen who has access to this information now, but continues to do nothing about it. Meaning the people who knew
Which information are we talking about? This is the problem.
Murders,
Who's
drones.
responsible? The killers on 9/11 blew up those buildings because they believed the United States people were responsible for this. Do you understand? This is a government of the people, by the people, for the people. The United States people are responsible for the killing of these and murdering of these children.
You shouldn't blame yourself.
I'm not blaming myself, Ian. I'm trying to come to a conclusion, and you're just muddying the waters.
No.
Who is responsible? Because I say it is not the United States citizen. The United States citizens is a victim of Washington, D.C. That it's the people in Washington, D.C. that we continue to send there, and we continue to pat them on the head. It's the people in the military. It's where you put your bumper sticker on the back of your car and you say Army Strong, and you're just happy about it. Those are the people responsible.
Okay, but you're not doing those things. You're doing everything you can about this. It's Free Talk Live.
Hey, Berkey Guy here. Are you still drinking unfiltered tap water? Does your water contain chlorine or fluoride? Will you have drinkable water in an emergency? The Berkey Guy is here to help you remove these and other potential contaminants from your water, thus helping you drink clean, purified water. We offer Berkey water purification systems at the lowest available prices online. Don't go another moment without a Berkey system. Over the last 10 years, we've helped thousands drink clean, purified water. Join them by visiting goberkey.com or call me, the Berkey Guy, at 877-886-3653. That's 877-886-3653.
It's time to kick some ash because cigarettes have met their match. Smokers are switching to Vaporite e-liquid by LeSig because when you kick ash, you kick tar and smelly smoke too. LeSig smokes the competition with real people customer service, a 7-day satisfaction guarantee, and same-day fast free shipping. Become a vapor today at LeSig.com, spelled LECIG.com. LeSig e-cigarettes. Kick some ash.
I've been told no in many different ways.
I give you an order and you're going to obey it.
George, you can go this way. You can do that and you have to leave here.
You cannot bring signs into the rally.
Walk with me. Well, I'm comfortable here, actually. Whoa. Hey. Who do you think you are? Excuse me.
There is no video or audio allowed in this office.
No, I have work today.
You ain't gonna make it.
Wait a minute.
Whoa. Hey! Oh my God! Unbelievable!
Why are you running from me? Because you're scared me. What am I being detained for?
You're being served.
What is this?
You're being served.
What is this? Bureaucrats have a funny way of telling people no.
That's the sound of the men working on the chain.
Derek J's Victimless Crime Spree. Watch it for free and order the Director's Cut DVD at victimlesscrimespree.com.
This is your Robertson Roberts Brokerage Daily Precious Metals Update. In early trading Friday, gold is $2 higher at $1,184 per ounce. Silver is up 2 cents at $16.18 per ounce. Bitcoin is trading at $261 US. Check out our Halloween special on Australian silver spiders, and if you've been looking for silver eagles, we've lowered that price too. Give us a call today at 800-874-9760 or online at rrbi.co.
If you want to know the latest about Free Talk Live before we go on the air, all you need to decide is how you want it delivered. It's your choice. Visit news.freetalklive.com. You can get emailed announcements and participate in contests via our email updates list. Plus, we have a Twitter account that you can follow and a Facebook page where you can become a fan. So visit news.freetalklive.com to get news about Free Talk Live as soon as it's announced and the way you want it delivered at news.freetalklive.com. That's news.freetalklive.com.
Are you getting squeezed by the economic downturn? Hey, you were doing fine. Then, all of a sudden, you're having a tough time paying your family's credit card bills. Maybe you were downsized or even lost a job, but you still owe 10 grand or more in credit card bills, and you just can't afford the minimum payments anymore. We're here to help. We are the Genesis Debt Partners. We know the secrets to negotiate better terms with your creditors. Make a free 10-minute call right now and learn how we can help you get out of debt. 800-981-7590. If you owe 10 grand or more in credit card debt and you want to learn how you can pay less and get out of debt faster, call right now. 800-981-7590. 800-981-7590. Get out of debt now. 800-981-7590.
You can watch the LRN Studio Cam and chat with other listeners anytime at cam.lrn.fm. That's cam.lrn.fm.
It is Free Talk Live, the live Sunday edition of the program. You're invited to join us here on the radio waves. The us includes me, Ian.
And me, Mark.
And if you're on the internet, you should be protecting yourself. But it does take a little bit of effort. Luckily, it's only a little bit. So what you have to do, one of the ways you can protect yourself is go to proxpn.com and get signed up for ProXPN. We've got a discount code that'll knock 50% off the regular monthly price for the lifetime of your account when you buy an annual account. ProXPN encrypts your internet service. It encrypts all of your data before it even reaches your ISP. Your ISP will no longer know what you're doing. They won't know where you're going. You're still using their internet connection, but ProXPN basically puts them in the dark. And that means they can't sell your info. They can't give it away. They can't turn it over to the government because they don't have it to give to anyone. As soon as you start using ProXPN. You can start now at proxpn.com. Use code FTL50 to get that 50% off deal I told you about. FTL like Free Talk Live, and 50 as in 50% off. That's pretty great. But if you've got Bitcoin, we've got an even better deal. You go to proxpn.com/AMP as in advertise, market, and promote, like the Free Talk Live AMP program. And then you can get, if you pay with Bitcoin, 2 years of ProXPN for less than $50 worth of Bitcoin. That's an amazing price. It's way cheaper even than the 50% off deal. It's incredible. And $5 of your purchase will go to the AMP program to help Free Talk Live spread the message of liberty even further. So it's like win-win-win. You get great privacy protection, ProXPN gets your business, and Free Talk Live gets a cut of the sale. So that's pretty awesome. proxpn.com/AMP. You do need Bitcoin for that special deal. That's proxpn.com/AMP. Or if you've got a credit card, you want to use that, use our discount code FTL50 to get that 50% off offer. Again, proxpn.com/AMP. Help spread the ideas of liberty and take back your privacy. Let's go to your calls and thoughts more about the drone leaker. Somebody has, we don't know who it is yet, somebody on the inside of the government has leaked out some shocking drone-related documents, and we'll continue discussing that. Let's go first, though, to Dave. He's in California. Dave, you're on Free Talk Live with Ian and Mark.
Oh, great, Ian and Mark. I would so much appreciate your efforts.
Thanks.
I know something, and I think you do, too, that the government got all this power, technical power, the ability to invade us on every front on the logic that we might expose, say, nuclear weaponry or something secret to foreign countries. Reality is that if you are the kind of person that exposed government fraud, corporate and government fraud and corruption, zoom, they are down on you over that like a vengeance. They're waiting for you. And so I have enjoyed being on the receiving end of that for a long time. I was most disappointed in the debates because most of the people I know feel that if there is any hope for the country, it lies with Bernie Sanders. But when the question came up about would you prosecute Ed Snowden if he were to return, each of them, even if what he did was expose a criminal government misusing their powers, in doing that, they felt he had violated the law and as such should be punished. And I don't see that. I think there's a man that needs to be awarded a very high Medal of Honor.
Absolutely. I totally agree that Edward Snowden is a hero, and I think that's. I'm glad you were able to see that Bernie Sanders' answer on that really shows where his true allegiance lies. Bernie Sanders is a statist. He is somebody who may be more honest than the average politician, as far as he'll be more likely to tell you, "Hey, I'm a socialist." The average politician will probably shuck and jive and dodge that particular label for themselves. So, credit to him where that is due. Of course, I totally disagree with socialism, and I disagree with any system that forces people without their consent into whatever its circumstances are.
I would contend that most forms of government, as they exist today, fall into the definition of socialism. I think we can put together some form of government that's not socialist, but the Fabian socialists claim that it had to do with forced distribution of wealth and state ownership of the means of production. And every Republicans, Democrats, they're all socialists as far as I'm concerned.
You can't pretend to be compassionate and at the same time you can't be a socialist and also truly be compassionate. On one hand, you can sound that way if you're a politician, because it sounds compassionate to say we should have free health care for everyone and free education for everyone. That sounds like compassion, but ultimately, if your means are the force of government, if they are violence against your neighbor, the threat of jail, in this case, what they're doing with Ed Snowden, or Irwin Schiff, who, of course, died in prison, as we talked about a few moments ago, for not paying taxes, then that's not compassionate. If you want it to be compassionate, if you want to give people access to school, that's great. If you want to help somebody who's poor or who's sick, that's great too. But it's not great when you threaten your neighbors to get them to help. You should persuade your neighbors to get them to help, and that's not socialist. Socialist is using force to do those.
I don't disagree with anything you've said, but that being said, if I was a registered Democrat, Sanders would be my choice, and here's the reason: because the president doesn't make laws. Congress makes laws. The president enforces them. So it doesn't matter what whatever plan Sanders wants to have or whatever. What matters is the use of the military, and Sanders is probably better. I'm not claiming good, just better.
Just better than Hillary?
Clinton or Biden, or frankly, in most of the other Republicans in the field either.
Well, he still voted for a lot of war stuff.
I'm not claiming he didn't, man.
Yeah.
I didn't say he was good.
Okay.
I said he was better.
Yeah. Least of the evils.
That's
is what
I
you're
would do if I was a registered Democrat.
Yeah. So, Dave, anything else you want to share on Snowden, et cetera? Go ahead.
Yeah, well, I think two things. You obviously both pretty intelligent folks who have put a lot of thought into this, but I'm hoping that one point that you will reconsider, and that is that if you don't go for the socialized Medicare type thing, then the option is put it in the hands of some very greedy and very dishonest insurance companies.
That's a false choice.
Wait a second. Let him finish his statement.
And if we do that, then what we end up doing is paying an outrageous amount of money to have the most minimal, flimsy health care, and when we need it, we find that often there's some loophole that they don't really protect us. And so most every country, maybe every country in Europe and whatnot right now has found, and I think they're far more honest than we are on a lot of it, that pay a little bit in taxes and pay the doctors a salary and have it available to everybody is far, far cheaper than paying tycoons and insurance companies outrageous fees.
So it's a false choice, and the reason why it's a false choice is,
I don't support either of those choices.
Right. So it's not one or the other. It's the other choice is let's have a free market in healthcare where if insurance companies exist, they're not regulated out of business by these governments. When I looked at buying health insurance here in New Hampshire a few years ago, there were two choices in the marketplace. And this is one of the things that happens when heavy regulations come into play. These regulations benefit the tycoons. The regulations benefit these big mega insurance corporations because it keeps other people out of the market. It keeps other players out of the market. Plus, you've got the government in there as well with their Medicare and Medicaid that also screws up the marketplace, which means that there are all these healthcare providers who have to charge more than they otherwise would have to charge in order order to jump through all these regulatory hoops. I think that we should have a free marketplace, which could mean healthcare sharing. It could mean, let's see, what was the mutual aid societies? Those have happened in the past. They still exist to some extent today. They would probably be more popular. And those are completely voluntary, non-corporation options for providing healthcare for people. Thank you, Dave, for your call and thoughts tonight. So again, it's a false choice to say that it's either single-payer healthcare or mega corporations.
Prior to Obamacare, 50% of the healthcare dollar was spent by the government in the form of Medicare. George Bush had the largest expansion of government funding inside of the medical sphere prior to Obama. This is one of the things that people love to point out, that these people are really not that much different. And I think that there's liberty-oriented solutions, but it takes a minute to explain them. So I'd like to do that.
We can do that, and also you can share your thoughts. Our toll-free number is 855-450-FREE. This is Free Talk Live. The new 4th edition of Healing Our World, The Compassion of Libertarianism, will take your understanding of liberty to a deeper level and has over 1,300 updated references, new cartoons, and a foreword by Dr. Ron Paul. With discounts for multiple book purchases, the 4th edition of Healing Our World is a great gift for the liberals, pragmatists, environmentalists, and Christians in your life who think libertarianism is cold-hearted. Get yours today at healing.freetalklive.com and use promo code FTL for a $5 discount.
When the most powerful and destructive witch in 13th century France chooses a successor, her frightened young protege, Liana, escapes into the wild. Pursued by witch hunters, the town watch, and her mistress, Liana's only hope is a pair of newly returned crusaders, one with PTSD, the other a complete rascal. The Witch's Hand by Wendy Joseph is a cut above the usual sword and sorcery fare, a thinking person's historical fantasy novel. Available now at your favorite booksellers or visit wendyjosephwrites.com.
By now you know that wireless technology like cell phones do in fact pose dangers to the health and privacy of everyone. Blockit Pocket's wide range of products are unmatched in providing the protection you deserve. No scare tactics, just common sense. BlockitPocket.com offers quality American-made options to alleviate and eliminate these invisible dangers. Learn more at BlockitPocket.com or call 888-315-9618. BlockitPocket.com, enhancing health and privacy.
Hi, I'm Dr. Sam Nussbaum with the Anthem Foundation. Premature birth is the leading cause of death of babies and disabilities for children. That's why we support the March of Dimes to help mothers have full-term pregnancies and healthy babies. Join us in supporting cutting-edge research, treatment and outreach to help moms during their pregnancy and give every baby a healthy start in life. Learn how you can help at marchofdimes.org.
Keenvention is coming up fast, October 30th through November 1st. Get your tickets now at keenvention.info. Keenvention is an intimate event where you can meet dozens of key liberty activists from across the Shire, including Oathkeeper Chris Reitman, Libertarian presidential candidate Darrell W. Perry, illegal Uber driver Christopher David, Neocash Radio's Dr. Darren Tapp, State Representative Mike Sylvia, rated an A+ by the NHLA, the Seditious Sirens, the Rebel Love Show's Rob Mathias, tech guru Brian Sovereign, cop blocker J.P. Freeman, new mover Dr. Taryn Lupo, longtime political activist Dennis Goddard, Church of the Invisible Hand minister Rich Paul, Shire Dude, and dozens more. Only 100 tickets are available in advance, so lock yours in now for just $60 or with Bitcoin. That includes access to the Halloween costume dance party. Reserve your tickets now at keenvention.info. Visit keenvention.info for more speaker announcements, or look for our page and event on Facebook. That's keenvention.info.
Here's a chance to do a little activism while you're cruising Facebook, Twitter, or Google+. Between the LOL cats, the recipes, the hot girls, and the inspirational sunrise memes, Free Talk Live's posts pass by your newsfeed. Like them, comment. It gives us more exposure. If you don't see our posts, click like at facebook.freetalklive.com and then hover over it to click Get Notifications. It's an easy way to spread the ideas of liberty a bit further. I know you're busy, but you can spare that tenth of a calorie it takes to click on something. Facebook.freetalklive.com. IT.com. If you have a business, you know that IT can be frustrating, but it doesn't have to be. IT can serve your needs reliably, predictably, and on time. Rootwork Infotech helps businesses achieve always-on reliability. Their nerds know business and can meet your needs. To prove it, they'll give you 30 minutes on the phone with a senior consultant for free to answer any of your IT questions. Just go to rootwork.it/FTL to get your free call. That's ROOT work.it/FTL.
You're listening to the best liberty-oriented audio streamed around the clock, on the air, and online. This is the Liberty Radio Network at LRN.FM.
It's Free Talk Live. Join us here on the radio waves. Our toll-free number for you. It's 855-450-FREE. Live Sunday edition continuing here. Ian and Mark in the studio. And you can join us on the phones at 855-450-3733. Plus, we've also got Skype. You can Skype in here. Skype username is LRN.FM. It'll sound like you're almost sitting in the studio with us if you're on Skype. So always a good option. As we continue here, let's go to Doug in Illinois, and then we'll talk more about the drones or healthcare. I know you had more comments on healthcare, Mark, so we'll come back around to that. Doug in Illinois, though, first up, you're listening to us via TuneIn. Go ahead.
Yeah, I would highly recommend for the healthcare issue that you read a book called Throw Them All Out. I read it a while ago after Obamacare went through by a guy by the name of Peter Schwiller or Pete. But it really had been a wonderful book. It talked about how the people in Washington actually benefited by the health care bill getting pushed through. They had money in a company like Humana or a health insurer. Mm-hmm. And the only people who really didn't benefit were the American people, for the fact that it brought the national debt up. But if you were an elected official in Washington, if you were the head of an insurer, you benefited. You know, I would encourage everybody to read it. It can kind of be an older book, but
well, right. I mean, this is the dirty secret, and it's not really a secret, but this is the truth about Obamacare, and that is that Obamacare helps the big mega corporations.
Yeah, they've designed this
right. It funnels money into their pockets. It's the national equivalent of the states that require people to have car insurance. You know, that drives the costs up. I used to live in Florida before we moved here in 2006 for the Free State Project. We moved to New Hampshire. New Hampshire is one of the few states that does not require car insurance. And that doesn't mean I don't have it. I still have car insurance. But when I moved here, my insurance rates, I think, dropped at least $200 a year. It just knocked off half the price that I paid for car insurance.
We had a parallel issue happen here in Illinois. We had electric deregulation, where you could not only pick ComEd, but you could pick an independent company putting electrical power out to the grid. And what eventually happened had been everybody had a huge deduction in their electric bill, but ComEd, they would make money off of the power grid, actual delivery of the power to your home or to your building, and they took a bigger cut than they thought that they would. Much more people ended up changing over to another company, electric power provider, than they thought. Mm-hmm. And then what they did had been they got the governor and the elected people to approve a rate hike. And they've approved a rate hike. I think they're in their third or fourth year to cover that. And now we no longer have that competition in the market for the fact that ComEd felt that, okay, if we can't get it by actually production of the electric power, then we're going to get it out of your pocket by what we do control, the actual delivery of the power. And that could pretty much be what they did. They ended that. But I want to talk about the Illinois lottery. You were talking about that about a week ago.
Were we? Okay.
How they're not. Yeah, how they're not paying people out. They're giving people an IOU.
Oh, God, is that still happening?
Yeah, oh yeah. It will continue to happen for quite a long time.
So they're continuing to run the lottery while they're not paying out?
Right.
Now, just to clarify, this, if I'm now recalling it a little bit, this was only winners above a certain amount, right? Like, because there's
25,000 or something,
10,000 or something. No. Now they brought it back down. They brought it, I think, down to like 800 or 900. If you're above 800 or 900 and you're winning, they will not pay you.
You're gonna have to keep your job.
Okay. Right. Well, yeah. my issue on it could be, I called the Illinois Attorney General for the fact that they get involved in everything. I mean, we had the whole Home Depot debacle. They got involved with that. They were going to go after that right after them. They got involved in, if a company shouldn't pay an individual back right away, they get involved in that. And I told them, I want the Illinois lottery charged with fraud. I go, they should be charged with fraud. That can be what they're doing. You charge other people with fraud. If they were a company, they would be charged with fraud. If they were an individual, they'd be charged with fraud. But due to them being
the
a government entity,
working for the government means you never have to say you're sorry.
And then I went ahead and I called the Illinois Lottery, and he told me, well, we're eventually going to get around to paying people. Well, what? Well, we don't know. It'll depend upon the budget. I go, well, then I'll eventually get around to paying the government my property bill too.
Yeah,
and I have no idea when.
That's what I like to hear.
I go, how do you think that'll work? He told me, well, I don't know. I'm like, well, I'd be thrown in jail for that.
No, they'll just steal your property. They'll only throw you in jail if you stay there when they try to steal your property. If you handcuff yourself to the front door or something like that.
It's income tax they throw you in jail over. Property tax, they have a secured piece of property they can take from you and kick your family out in the street in the cold in the middle of winter.
They'll do that, yeah.
I go, if you're not going to pay people and you don't know when you're going to pay people, I go, you shut it down. I go, every year they have a great big raffle for the Halloween lottery here in Illinois where they have airtime on TV and radio. Oh, you can win over $1 million. They're not being truthful with people. They're committing fraud. And it's, again, if it were a company or an individual, you'd be in big trouble.
You nailed it, Doug. Thanks for sharing that with us tonight. I hadn't heard that update. I appreciate hearing from you. I've actually pulled up the story from the Chicago Tribune. We'll come back to healthcare. I've got a note, so won't forget. Randall Abello of Bensonville says he still plans to buy lottery tickets despite the Illinois Lottery's announcement Wednesday that even more winners will be getting IOUs. He'll just play in another state, one where winnings would be paid out immediately. Labello, age 47, says, I do a lot of traveling. I'll just jump to the border and go to Wisconsin. I used to buy lottery tickets in Illinois, but I'm not purchasing them anymore. If they're not paying when they say they're going to pay, I have no confidence in the future. And he's right. Now, it's a terrible idea to continue playing the lotto in general because the odds are stacked against you, and essentially it's a tax on poor people, voluntary tax, if you will. As of Thursday, Illinois lottery payments for any winnings over $600. So it wasn't even 8 or 9 like was suggested there in the call. $600 winners. If you've made more or you've won more than that, get ready to wait because they'll pay you when they darn well feel like it. They're being delayed until the state budget stalemate is resolved. Lottery officials say the agency's check-writing account is depleted, so no authority can replenish it. Though winnings under $600 can still be retrieved immediately at retail kiosks. The Illinois Lottery began delaying payments in July, at first only for prizes larger than $25,000, due to state law barring larger payouts because the legislature must authorize the state comptroller to release the funds. 2 winners sued the Illinois Lottery in federal court last month, alleging fraud. Their attorney, Thomas Zimmerman Jr., said he plans to file an amended complaint later this month, adding at least 20 other lottery winners whose payments have also been delayed. He expects more winners will join the class action suit now that the lottery has lowered the amount for immediate payments. I hope this attorney cashes in on this one. Wouldn't it be interesting to see the Illinois Lottery completely fail? Like if they could sue it out of business somehow? I don't know if that's possible, but
well, one of the things that they often do with lotteries, and I don't know specific with Illinois, is that they'll often say that they're helping to fund education, right? They're taking this money, they're funneling it in. What that happens?
It's a lie.
Well, yeah, money's fungible. So what happens is that the money is then put into the education fund, but then the politicians put less money into the education fund than they were going to put in anyway, so essentially it's just going into the general fund. And I think there's one state, I think Alabama, made a separate fund for scholarships for college for students, and this made more sense than what they had done, what lotteries generally do. But I mean, it is, like you said, essentially a voluntary tax. I used to play, I haven't played in 10 years, but I used to get one ticket. If I watched the news and then I could look at the number and then I was like, oh yeah, that's not it, then throw it away because I never won. But there you go. One ticket, you're less likely to win. It's the people that win generally are the ones that, they're buying 100 tickets or something. This is the retirement fund. This is a terrible idea.
So if this guy wins this suit. Let's say this class action suit moves forward. I don't know, what happened with the suit already, if it's been dismissed or what the status is. Sounds like he's trying to recruit more people into it, so it may still be moving through the system. So let's say the suit is successful. Let's say, the judge rules, okay, Illinois Lottery, you are in violation of your own rules here. It says that you're going to pay people. You're not doing that. You're in default of payments, and you need to pay these people immediately.
You're pretty clearly a bunch of crooks.
And the Illinois Lottery says, well, bank account's empty.
It's not that the account's empty. It's that they're not authorized to release the funds, right?
No, it says that the check writing account is depleted.
I see.
So they got no money.
Yeah, well, they could have the money.
That's what they claim. They don't have it.
Well, the lottery is one of the few government programs that has plenty of money.
Self-funded, right?
Like the money comes in.
Yeah. How did their check writing account get depleted exactly?
It's because the money goes into the general fund, and then their check writing fund
they're authorized a certain amount from the general fund.
That kind of thing. Yeah.
I see. So, okay, so then they say, well, sorry, legislature won't authorize this. We can't do anything about it. What happens then? Exactly. In most cases, if somebody can't pay their creditors, they go to bankruptcy and they have their assets sold to the highest bidder, right? So what happens with the Illinois Lottery if that is the case? Our toll-free number is 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733. We'll hear more from their attorney or the attorney suing them coming up.
If you expect secure, privacy-oriented services and real human support from your web hosting provider, choose Virtual Space International. From domain names and SSL certificates to offshore banking accounts, Virtual Space International has been the all-in-one, multi-language solution for over 25 years. And satisfaction is guaranteed or your money back. We even accept Bitcoin. Find out how to get 50% off for life at SaveTimeHosting.com.
As a pioneer of the e-commerce movement, Overstock.com is proud to be the first major retailer to accept Bitcoin. Overstock was the first because Patrick Byrne, Overstock's CEO and founder, firmly believes in personal freedom and cryptocurrency. Over the past 16 years, Overstock has furnished over 18 million homes with a diverse line of products to suit everyone's unique styles and preferences. Support Overstock and freedom of choice while enjoying free shipping on orders of 0.211 Bitcoin or more.
There comes a time when you need custom embroidered or screen printed apparel for your business, organization, or a special event. Corporate Casuals has been helping people create great looking logoed apparel for over 25 years. They can produce a single piece or thousands using name brand apparel like Nike, Patagonia, Adidas, and Hanes. Create your logo in their online embroidery design studio or upload your existing logo and they'll turn it into embroidery. Go to corporatecasuals.com/FTL and include FTL in the order notes and save 5% on your order.
So you've heard all 3 hours of the latest episode of Free Talk Live, and you're still hungry for liberty-oriented audio content? Did you know that we have another 24/7 audio stream at LRN.FM? The Liberty Radio Network airs the latest episodes of some of the best liberty-oriented podcasts on the internet around the clock. In addition to recorded content, you'll also hear live shows like Free Talk Live, originating from our Keene, New Hampshire studio. So listen anytime at LRN.FM. That's LRN.FM.
You're listening to the live edition of Free Talk Live. Hour number 2 is next after the news here on the Liberty Radio Network at LRN.FM.
From Keene in the Shire, the Liberty Media capital of the world, this is Daryl W. Perry, host of FPP Radio News for Sunday, October 18th, 2015. Silver is trading at $16.05 per ounce. Gold is valued at $1,177 per ounce. And according to BitcoinAverage.com, the average price of Bitcoin is $268. Antiwar.com reports Saudi warplanes have come under growing criticism for their massive civilian death toll in their months of bombing Yemen. They insist the attacks aren't intentional and their incompetence in hitting actual enemies seems to be growing all the time. Saturday, in their airstrikes against the Taiz province, Saudi warplanes attacked a military base belonging to their own coalition, killing 30 Allied fighters and wounding 40 others. The official statement was simply that the plane hit the wrong target. This is the latest in a string of friendly fire fire incidents by the Saudi warplanes and the first which hit one of their own bases. Previous incidents saw the airstrikes hitting troops marching against Houthi positions, stalling their own offensives. The Taiz province was also the site of a massive Saudi airstrike against a wedding party last month, which killed 13 civilians. This incident caused a lot of criticism during the UN General Assembly, though ultimately Saudi objections prevented the UN from passing a resolution of an independent investigation.
For over 35 years, Robertson Roberts has been a trusted source for buying and selling your investment-grade precious metals. They also take Bitcoin for precious metal purchases and permanently removed the minimum purchase order for all orders paid in the digital currency. Call Robertson Roberts today for knowledgeable advice on investing and a forward-thinking approach to new technologies. 850-478-5270 or online at rrbi.co.
UPI reports the Obama administration canceled offshore drilling in Alaska's Arctic Ocean for the coming 2 years after scrapping current and future drilling plans in the Chukchi and Beaufort Seas. The Department of the Interior announced it is canceling 2 lease sales it had planned for the next 2 years for Arctic drilling rights and denied requests from 2 oil companies to extend leases on drilling rights. It comes less than a month after Shell Oil pulled its drilling operation out of the Arctic, citing disappointing results and high cost. Sally Jewell, Secretary of the Interior, said, in light of Shell's announcement, the amount of acreage already under lease and current market condition, it does not make sense to prepare for lease sales in the Arctic. In making the change, the Interior Department said it will cancel the 2 potential Arctic offshore lease sales, and it rejected appeals by Shell and Statoil to extend Arctic leases first obtained during the administration of George W. Bush. Republican Senator Lisa Murkowski of Alaska called the decision a stunning, short-sighted move that betrays the Interior Department's commitments to Alaska. Murkowski posted on Twitter, "This is the latest in a destructive pattern of hostility toward energy production that began the first day this administration took office." You can support FPP Radio by joining the Fans program. Fans are friends, allies, and Numery supporters. Fans help FPP afford to produce more original content. You can join the Fans program for as little as $3 per month or any amount of Bitcoin per month, thanks to the recurring payment options provided by Coinbase. To learn more or to join the Fans program, visit fans.fppradio.com. Reuters reports Canada's political leaders began their final weekend dashes on Saturday before voters decide on Monday whether to grant Conservative Prime Minister Stephen Harper a rare 4th consecutive mandate after a long and hard-fought campaign. Harper attended a Toronto rally that was organized in part by controversial former Toronto Mayor Rob Ford, who admitted to smoking crack during his time in office. Now a city councillor, Ford's small government anti-tax message has kept him popular in parts of Toronto's vote-rich suburbs. Harper was introduced by Ford's brother Doug, who has said he would consider a Conservative leadership run if Harper left. At an earlier event in Quebec, Harper touted his economic track record and dodged questions about his relationship with the Fords. The Liberals are leading the Conservatives by as much as 8 percentage points in polls, sitting as high as 38%, very close to what is needed to win a majority in Parliament. Thomas Mulcair, leader of the left-leaning New Democratic Party, NDP, took aim at Justin Trudeau and the ethics of his Liberal team. Trudeau's campaign co-chair was forced to resign last week over controversial advice to an energy company on how to lobby a future Liberal government. The NDP leader, whose party is in 3rd place in the polls, likened the situation to a corruption scandal that unfolded in Quebec a decade ago when the Liberals held power. This has been FPP Radio News, online at fppradio.com.
A new report from the Department of Health and Human Services urges Americans to do something, anything at all. According to the study, getting off your ass and doing any sort of physical or mental activity could have positive health effects.
Look, we're not expecting you to go to the gym. That's clearly not happening. Just walk outside for a few blocks and then come back home. You can bring potato chips if that's what it'll take.
For many years, the health department has encouraged Americans to watch less TV, but this report reverses that, saying, quote, watch whatever the hell you want, but at least pay attention and remember who the characters are, or just admire the colors. Colors are pretty. It's expected that following the advice in this report will cut down on the largest cause of death among Americans, laying on your back until your mouth fills up with saliva and you drown. Following the report's release, the most popular exercise now seems to be masturbating, but researchers warned that if you do it in public, stick to the sidewalk or you might get hit by cars.
This is the Onion News Network.
Free Talk Live.
It's Free Talk Live, and you can join us here. Toll-free number for you, 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733. We've also got Skype at Skype username LRN.FM. The Illinois Lottery starting to screw over winners over $600. They're telling you if you've won over $600, sorry, we'll get to you when we get a chance. We'll pay you later. When? Now, whenever we get the authorization to do so. Hey, it's not our fault. Blame those politicians over there. And we'll tell you more about what people are doing in Illinois. There's a lawsuit involved. That's still to come. Plus, Mark, I know you want to comment on health care, all of that, but your calls certainly come first if you want to join us at 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733. Let's go first to Skype, where Ademo Freeman is on the line and out of jail. Ademo, welcome back to the semi-free world.
Yes, the freer world. I appreciate it. And a big thanks to you guys and everyone else who made that push, which did help me get out of jail.
So for our listeners who are uninformed, let me see if I can recap briefly what has happened over the last 48 hours or so. You were, over the weekend, arrested in Kansas for a warrant out of Indiana. You had kicked off the Cop Block Mobile Accountability for Cops tour in an RV that you have dubbed MAC, which stands for Mobile Accountability for Cops. You and Brian Sumner have been on this tour now for a couple weeks, I think. And it was actually the day before the tour started that you were in Noblesville, Indiana, and you did some chalking outside of a police department there with some of the local cop blockers. The Noblesville cops, they cornered you later on that night. They threatened you. They detained you for about 15 minutes. You got all that on video. That video is up over at, you can watch it over at freekeen.com or copblock.org/Mac-tour. And they accused you of using spray paint or some sort of yellow paint during the actual chalking that had gone on outside of the police station. And of course, you seemed completely bewildered that would have been the case. It wasn't just you that was chalking. There was a small group of activists that were there chalking, but yet they have now issued a warrant for your arrest, and that arrest ultimately happened in Kansas. Did I get all that correct?
That is correct, yes. And then Kansas police took me to the Johnson County Detention Center, where I spent the last day and a half. What I thought was felony charges, and that was the big kicker to most of this for myself, is that the warrant, according to the Shawnee police that were arresting me, was that it was a felony warrant for criminal mischief. And I guess there is such a thing in Indiana, but I was unaware of that until recently, even though it turned out it was only a misdemeanor warrant, which is kind of mind-boggling to some folks because, as you mentioned, we had been on this tour now for 3 weeks. This isn't the first time the police have ran our information, but yet this is the first time I've been picked up for any warrant like this. So it's kind of, I feel the timing might have been kind of convenient to this, knowing that it was a Friday, that I would have sat all weekend without bailing to see a judge.
No. Yeah. The police would never do that. Make an arrest on a Friday that they knew that somebody was going to be released on a Monday for. They'd never do that.
Right. I think the time, because it was about 11 p.m. where I'm at Central Time, and that would have been about midnight Eastern Time for Indiana. And as you know from the video over at copblock.org/Mac-tour, that interaction happened around midnight, about 12:30 actually, which means to me that when the police who claimed to have when they arrested me, they claimed to have called Indiana and asked if they were coming to get me, and they said yes. And I'm curious as to who they would have reached at such an hour. And again, about 10 days before that, I believe Brian and I were both ran by the police, which is something I found out while I was in jail, and I wasn't picked up on the warrant. That was when we were chalking the Kansas City Police Headquarters. And that was a Tuesday. And I believe that the difference in that, it's only my speculation, is that on Tuesday in the middle of the day, they reached somebody of higher standing, maybe a captain or a chief, who said, no, we wouldn't get him. And on Friday, they reached one of those officers that you may have seen in that video, a sergeant or a shift supervisor, who just so happened to say yes, even though maybe knowing on Monday that would have changed to a no.
Yeah, I mean, it's not like they're going to be held responsible.
And they did say in the video where they're arresting you that this was a felony. So it's not like that was just some sort of allegation that you made. They said that on video that this was a felony warrant. Turns out it was a Class B misdemeanor. So not even like a jailable, likely not even a jailable misdemeanor.
Right. This is like hawking a loogie on the sidewalk or something.
Well, from what I read, it does have a 6-month up to $1,000 fine, but there is an A, which is a year. And it seems that you would more likely get jailable. I couldn't find like I've only done a little research. I couldn't find the last like charge in that county for this, but more research will come.
Okay. I was jumping to a conclusion there because in New Hampshire, Class B is not jailable. Of course, we all know that if you don't pay the fine, they'll put you in jail anyway. So
exactly, it's always some sort of threat. But I wasn't aware that it was a felony until 2 hours before my release, and even moments before that I realized I was going to see a judge tomorrow morning. And had I known those two things, I would have most certainly stayed in jail.
But if you had known it was not a felony.
Correct. If I would have known it was not a felony and that I was seeing a judge, because it was my understanding that the judge came in on Sunday, read some paperwork, set my bail, and so I didn't think I was going to see them again for a while. You know, that's the information that was passed me. Your bail's $4,000. Good luck.
The problem is that they don't get, the information you get is half information at best.
It's highly unreliable. Yeah, I mean, information from these bureaucrats, it may have been that the cops thought it was a felony. I mean, they were either lying or, spreading misinformation. And it could just simply be that they were ignorant and they were told.
Either way, legally they could have taken me to jail on the felony or the misdemeanor. It's just unlikely that, like some of the folks had reported, like Brian, that the Hamilton County Sheriff said they would not come and get me for that offense.
Right.
And so my lesson here is to just, if you're going to be an activist and do these things, and I should have long learned this, is to, don't worry about the misinformation that comes from the inside. I know that what we do lands us in jail, and so I should be willing to sit out 3 or 4 days before I get actual good information. And so
part of the problem is that the people on the outside get kind of freaked out, right? Like you're a hero to a lot of people, Ademo. I mean, I know you probably don't, want to be, but ultimately, a lot of people look up to you. And they don't know that you can handle it, right? Like, even though they know you've been in jail, they know they wouldn't want to be in that position. And so they're like running around trying to raise the money to get you out as soon as possible, when ultimately all that does is it just enriches the system. There was somebody who is a mutual friend who, I was talking to, who said that this bail bondsman was encouraging them to pay up. And I said, well, of course the bail bondsman's encouraging that. He wants to
car salesman will encourage you to buy cars too.
He wants to make money. And what was going on was that somebody had said that they'd talked to you and that you had wanted to get bailed out. And I said, well, that's likely because he still thinks it's a felony. But we couldn't, we can't call you to see what you know. So like.
Yeah, exactly. And Brian had thought that a guard was really nice and relayed that message to me, which absolutely never happened at all. No guard came to my door and said, misdemeanor, your friends say it'll be all good when you see the judge on Monday. That would have given me some reassurance. And the 2 times I had the ability to speak to anyone today was for 60 seconds minus their 3-second, recording there at the beginning. And not enough time. But that's when Kate mentioned to me that it was a misdemeanor. And I got that confirmed by a CO, but then had to lock down. And before I got out again to communicate, they opened the front door. And at that point, I had a little bit of blinders on. I wish at that moment I would have had them explain the charges to me again. And then I would have denied bail because I still wasn't 100% sure what I was sitting on. I got conflicting reports. And so.
Well, wait a minute. So when you found out you were being released, that means somebody else had already paid for you. Can you deny it at that point? Say, no, I'll just stay. I'll sit here.
I don't know, but I think we would have found out if I would have been fully aware, which I wasn't of until like an hour even after being released. I don't know if they would have said you have to go or they give that money back. Brian and I believe that since they are bailing you out, like I'm not bailing myself out.
Right.
So
you can't control it.
I could refuse that because it could be like a legal stance, right? It could be like a legal defense of some sort. Like
I don't think you can refuse it. If somebody's already shown up and said, I want to bail Ademo Freeman out, and they put the money forward, I don't think there's anything that you can do to refuse that.
Well, I think that my biggest concern here is that they're locking people up who haven't harmed anyone. I mean, the jail system, I'm not even talking about charging. They could have charged him and put him on some kind of PR bond or whatever, and he could have driven back to Indiana if that's what they in fact wanted to do. But they just throw mud in the water, and you can't figure out what what's going on. The United States jail system shouldn't be locking people up that aren't a danger to the public.
All right.
It's a disservice to the taxpayer.
Ademo, can you stick with us? I've got more questions.
Absolutely.
Ademo Freeman, founder of copblock.org. Good news is he's out, but the bad news is he probably would have gotten out tomorrow anyway. So more coming up. It's Free Talk Live.
Are your kids spending too much time online? Are they gaming instead of doing homework? Are they on Facebook instead of sleeping? Turn their internet access on or off when you want for free at webcurfew.com. 100% web-based interface means nothing to download, install, or configure. Web Curfew is free and controls any device using your home network without slowing down your internet. Block all adult web content with the click of a button. Don't let the internet raise your kids. Take back control of how and when your home internet is used for free. Visit webcurfew.com.
BlakeDevelopment.net is a global leader in website creation, app development, and online marketing, catering to businesses of all sizes. There's really no job too big or too small for BlakeDevelopment.net. Do you have an idea for a killer app, but you don't know how to code it? Are you missing out on online sales? Or maybe your business needs help with social media? Websites start at just $200, and they're offering 3 years of free domain registry. Yes, they take Bitcoin. 844-SITE-123. BlakeDevelopment.net, 844-SITE-123.
Most of us already know that taking a fish oil supplement to boost omega-3s is a good idea. But did you know that about 60% of Americans are actually deficient in omega-3s? Did you know that most fish oil products contain only about 25% omega-3s and the remaining 75% is undesirable fish fat? Heck, did you know that more than 90% of fish oil supplements sold in the USA are not even made here? If you want to boost your omega-3s using the finest American-made fish oil, check out Nutrigold fish oil supplements on www.fishoil.best. Nutrigold fish oils are independently 5-star certified and guaranteed to be exceptionally pure. That means no more fish burps. Best of all, just one Nutrigold fish oil capsule contains more omega-3s than 4 standard fish oil capsules. Go to www.fishoil.best or call 888-920-1497 and use promo code BESTFISHOIL to get a free 1-month supply. That's www.fishoil.best or call 888-920-1497.
Free Press Publications is an independent alternative media and publishing company founded in June 2009 with the mission of ensuring a free press for the freedom movement and is committed to spreading the message of peace, freedom, love, and liberty. FPP also gives new authors an avenue for publishing freedom-oriented material. FPP brings you daily news and commentary on the website fpp.cc, as well as a daily 5-minute newscast, FPP Radio News, and weekly news, views, and commentary in the FPP Freedom Minute and Peace, Love, Liberty Radio at fppradio.com, and the monthly newspaper FPP News at news.fpp.cc. Find FPP online at fpp.cc. That's fpp.cc, as in Creative Commons.
LRN.FM is proud to announce our official listening apps for Android and iOS devices. Now you can easily tune into our streams anywhere, anytime on your smartphone or tablet. Just visit apps.lrn.fm or search for LRN.FM in the Android or Apple app stores. Please download, rate it 5 stars, then share the link on social media, and let your friends and family know how you're listening to LRN.FM. Download it now, free at apps.lrn.fm. That's apps.lrn.fm.
BlakeDevelopment.net is a global leader in website creation, app development, and online marketing, catering to businesses of all sizes. There's really no job too big or too small for BlakeDevelopment.net. Do you have an idea for a killer app, but you don't know how to code it? Are you missing out on online sales? Or maybe your business needs help with social media? Websites start at just $200, and they're offering 3 years of free domain registry. Yes, they take Bitcoin. 844-SITE-123. BlakeDevelopment.net, 844-SITE-123.
While our satellite channel is free to listen to, it's not free for us. You can help us cover our satellite costs with the chip-in on the right side of the page at lrn.fm.
This is Free Talk Live. Maybe you've got a question for Ademo Freeman from copblock.org. He was arrested over the weekend and is now back in the land of the semi-free with the rest of us. no longer inside a jail cell in Johnson County, Kansas. It's Ian and Mark in the studio with you. We also want to invite you to join Mark in real life in Las Vegas coming up in under 2 weeks.
Yeah, I can't believe it's coming up that quick. But yes, at the end of October here, the 29th and 30th, I will be at the Bitcoin Investor Conference. Check them out. They're going to have a really great event. You go to bitcoininvestor.com. That's bitcoininvestor.com. I believe they've changed ticket pricing, so if you go there and check it out, you'll see some differences. It's going to have great speakers: Trace Mayer, Dr. Stephanie Murphy, Stephen Michaels, Brian Sovereign, Bitcoin Bell, Paul Pui, Joseph Von Perling. I'm going to be emceeing. It's going to be a great event, and the D Hotel actually accepts Bitcoin. It's amazing.
Awesome.
It's really great. We're giving away some tickets over at our Facebook page. You go to facebook.freetalklive.com. Pinned to the top is a contest where you just guess a number between 1 and 1,000. We're giving away some tickets, and go guess, please. It's only one guess per person is permitted, so make it count, and we'll be announcing the winners on Wednesday. Bitcoininvestor.com to buy your tickets.
All right, let's continue with Ademo Freeman from copblock.org, friend of the show, former co-host, and on the MAC tour right now, MAC standing for Mobile Accountability for Cops, and accountability is one of the things that CopBlock is out there doing, pushing people or suggesting that people hold the police accountable by recording their interactions with them or recording police's interactions with other people to hold them to account for their naughty deeds, or hopefully prevent them from committing egregious violations of people's rights. Unfortunately, Ademo, you were targeted because of your activism, I suspect, by the Noblesville, Indiana police. You ultimately were arrested in Kansas on a warrant for so-called criminal mischief, and they're accusing you of using paint in front of a police station during what was supposed to be a chalking event, where you guys were chalking messages to the police out in front of the Noblesville Police Department. You were taken into custody, told you were being charged with a felony, but ultimately you were only charged with a Class B misdemeanor. And due to you thinking you were being charged with a felony, you were thinking you should probably get out of jail, otherwise you'd be sitting there until you were extradited into Indiana and then held for who knows how long. But it turned out that it was a Class B misdemeanor, which would have meant you likely would have been out tomorrow afternoon after being, having a hearing with the judge. So, as is the case with these situations, the communications from the bureaucrats is frequently inaccurate or straight out false. And that affected how you decided to handle this situation. And as a result, now your friends on the outside who raised the money are going to be out hundreds of dollars for the bail bondsman that they hired. So, this whole system is a sort of a scam from top to bottom. I mean, the bail bondsmen are basically kind of in on it too, aren't they?
Yeah, I feel bad about that. Even if after this all plays out, I don't believe the fine would be even as much as I paid the $800 to bail out, which, about $635 or $45 of it was raised money, and the rest of it came out of my money. So as it should. But again, I just wish that, like you said, it's ironic that you're around so many professionals, as Brian and I joked earlier, that have no idea what's going on. You know, if you were around a bunch of radio show hosts, you're probably going to get some good feedback and know what good microphones and tools and programs. But like here you are about a bunch of people who live the law or like system day in and day out. And 6 different people gave me 6 different answers, or played along with the same one that turned out to be completely false. All through the booking process, I was told repeatedly that it was felonies. As I seen the warrants today and stuff like that, like nowhere does it say. I mean, it says it's a misdemeanor, or it says it's the law. And like B, and like I don't see anywhere that it's clearly felony or misdemeanor.
Yeah, we found out that it was a misdemeanor. A friend of mine did some research and found that it was the Class B misdemeanor by looking at the court records. And it was in the court records that information was gleaned. So, we didn't even get that information from the bureaucrats. We found that out by doing research within the system.
As an ad salesperson, I take responsibility for mistakes I made. And oftentimes, if things go wrong, so an ad's scheduled in the wrong place or it doesn't air or whatever.
You'll make good.
Yeah, I'll make good. I'll play another ad. I'll play 2 ads. Who knows what I'll do in order to make good. But I try to be held responsible because for one thing, I could be sued. Ultimately, I could be sued and held responsible for this. But when you get bad information from the government, I don't think that the jail guards really are concerned with what might happen to them if they give you bad information.
Right. And two things I'd like to clear up real quick is that I'm not even sure the criminal mischief charge is related to the chalking or like the idea that I like led the group to go there or whatever. I know we did utilize this new liquid chalk. And now after we researched it today, we saw that like it might take excessive water to wash off. So like still at the end of the day, I don't know what they could be so upset about other than trying to make a, like I said, I think it's more vindictive than it was about upholding justice, of course.
Have you been given the actual copies of the complaint from Indiana, or you have to go there to get those?
Well, I'm not sure. Like Brian and I in the last couple of days both received some letters from attorneys asking us if we want to be represented, but they were templated letters that like everyone gets when when their name goes through the court records, but they don't clarify what the charges were or that there was even a warrant out. So we didn't know, like we had an idea that like something might be coming, but the state of Indiana has not delivered to either one of us via phone call, email, or snail mail any notification of any charges or documents.
So you would have to go there physically to pay their bond in order to receive that information?
That's all things we're going to find out starting first thing tomorrow morning. And so copblock.org/Mac keeps you a good overview, other ways to help, and recent content. And so we're going to start calling the DA and or prosecutor, whatever, get some information about that. Do we have to be arraigned in person? Are they willing to drop these warrants, which is our biggest concern? Like, hey, if they want to set a court date for after the tour and lift the warrants, I have no problem coming back. If I can video conference in and handle that, that'd be preferable.
Right, because until then, if those warrants don't get dropped, until then, you can be arrested again and again and again by other police departments.
Technically, yes, but right now, since Kansas has already picked me up on it, they will not arrest me on it anymore in Kansas. But
wait. The entire state of Kansas or just Johnson County cops?
The entire state of Kansas.
Interesting. I didn't realize that.
Yeah, wow, you have the whole state of Kansas to travel around in for your Mac tour. Congratulations.
But we're in Kansas City, Kansas, and so Kansas City, Missouri, right across the river. I go across the river, they could arrest me, hold me, do whatever they wanted.
Why wasn't Brian arrested? We found out later on that he has the same warrant, purportedly another Class B misdemeanor for so-called criminal.
Exactly.
Whatever it was.
That was another thing that played into my factors. I assumed that if I had the warrant, Brian did too, and I was saying if they extradited me to Indiana and then he was stuck here and I face it there and come back here and then he gets arrested in the next state, this really snowballs the tour effect. So I was thinking that if I could bail out, if it was felony wise, that we both could handle these head on, which is just one other factor. But again, it was all misinformation. But yes, Brian has the same, and so we hope to address them both at the same time.
But why don't they? Why? I mean, is it that they didn't know who he was?
He wasn't driving the car, and so they may or may. One of the officers, the one that did not arrest me, later told me he knew of copblock.org, knew who I was, and kept wondering how I would rate his service of me that night, which I kept telling him was a 1 because he was doing another police department's bad deeds. And neither one of them could clarify what the warrant was about, and they both laughed that they didn't even have that law there. And I said, so like, if you didn't have the law there,
hold that thought, Ademo. More with Ademo Freeman from copblock.org. It's Free Talk Live.
Hunters, anglers, campers, and survivalists. Get back to nature. Expand your horizons with the highest quality, most versatile, unique slingshots and sling bows on the market at slingbow.com. Slingbow products are compact and models start from just $17.98. They're perfect for your bug out bag or storing in your vehicle. Give yourself and your loved ones the excitement and tradition of slingbow. A new frontier in archery and truly modern twist on this primitive survival tool. Feel the thrill only at slingbow.com.
Just recently, we've witnessed some of the most catastrophic disasters in history. Be sure to prepare yourself with great-tasting, high-quality, GMO-free food that has a 25-year shelf life. Of course, we're talking about the foods from SurvivalFoodAlliance.com. And don't forget, the human body needs up to 3 quarts of water every day to remain healthy and hydrated. So check out our water bricks at SurvivalFoodAlliance.com. Go to SurvivalFoodAlliance.com or call 877-223-1776.
On Free Talk Live, we're bringing people to the ideas of liberty every day. From wrestling superstars like Glenn Jacobs.
You guys really are having an impact, I believe. Like I said, a lot of where I am now is due to listening to Free Talk Live. You changed my mind on some very important issues years ago.
To random people tuning in on the radio.
I was kind of stuck in the left-right paradigm. I heard your show by chance on a Saturday night. From there, I went on, joined the Free State Project, and become an amplifier. So, I mean, that's really the reason why I amp is because I know that if it wasn't for you guys being on as many stations as you are, I never would have found the ideas of liberty.
Your amp will directly change more lives by getting Free Talk Live in front of people looking for talk radio online and on the air. You can help by joining the AMP program for just $5 a month at amp.freetalklive.com and getting perks. That's amp.freetalklive.com.
This is your Robertson Roberts Brokerage Daily Precious Metals Update. In early trading Friday, gold is $2 higher at $1,184 per ounce. Silver is up 2 cents at $16.18 per ounce. Bitcoin is trading at $261 US. Check out our Halloween special on Australian silver spiders, and if you've been looking for silver eagles, we've lowered that price too. Give us a call today at 800-874-9760 or online at rrbi.co.
DVD, books, music, instruments, periodicals, computers, software, electronics, photo, cell phones, office products, home and garden, bed and bath, furniture, kitchen, pet supplies, automotive, hardware, apparel, shoes, jewelry, grocery, healthcare, sports and outdoors, toys, games, used, and more. It's a department store at your fingertips. Shop.freetalklive.com. Get all your shopping done, get a great deal, and a portion of your purchase goes to benefit Free Talk Live when you enter Amazon via shop.freetalklive.com.
Every once in a while, you get information that's worth changing your life for. This is one such time. You can save up to and beyond 25% on all purchases at Amazon. You probably heard of Bitcoin and just not thought much about it. You certainly know that you can get competitive pricing at Amazon, but now you can get a 25% discount on nearly everything you need to live. I've just given you a huge raise, and all you have to do is claim it. You go to saveitpurse.com and open an account. Do this right now. Don't wait. Then you fund the account with Bitcoin. I know this sounds unbelievable, but at my house, we saved as much as 45% off of a new item on Amazon. This information is worth you changing the way you do things. Go to saveitpurse.com right now, get signed up, and cash in on the huge raise I'm offering you. 15 to 25% off of everything at Amazon through saveitpurse.com. It's saveatpurse.com.
Do you love Twitter? Make sure you favorite the LRN.FM Twitter account so you can receive our tweets at twitter.lrn.fm. That's twitter.lrn.fm.
This is Free Talk Live, and you can join us here toll-free. Our number, 855-450-FREE. If you've got a question for Ademo Freeman from copblock.org, he's on the line with us right now, and by the line I mean Skype. And he's actually calling us from Kansas, where he's just today, this afternoon, I think, gotten out of jail after being arrested on some trumped-up charge from Indiana. They actually issued a warrant for a Class B misdemeanor of so-called criminal mischief, ostensibly regarding chalking out in front of the police station. We believe that's what this is, but Ademo is yet to actually see the actual complaint against him, so we're not really sure what the facts in the case are, and he's not even sure because they kept him in the dark while he was in jail, telling him multiple times that it was a felony charge, and then turns out it wasn't a felony charge. Turns out it's a Class B misdemeanor charge. So we're going to continue that discussion. Also want to take your calls and thoughts. You can call in about anything, but if you have a question for Ademo, your calls are coming first, so keep that in mind. Toll-free number 855-450-3733. We are back with Ademo Freeman from the Cop Block MAC Tour. MAC stands for Mobile Accountability for Cops. You can go to copblock.org/MAC to learn more about it. But Ademo, you said earlier it was Cop Block. On a previous interview, you told us copblock.org/MAC-tour is where the tour updates are posted. But tonight you gave copblock.org/MAC. Which one should people go to?
Well, Mac Tour will give you all the recent posts, like most recent to the first, so in a reverse order. But copblock.org/Mac is an overview of everything. It gives you our short launch video, our kind of like a little mission statement, a little bio about Brian and myself, as well as a link right on the top to the most recent content, our next stop, and so on. Though we'll probably be posting an update here to the website in the next couple of days announcing the, since this thing is happening, we're not going to be able to make it to Texas on time and stuff like that, though we're still going to hit these areas.
Yeah.
We're going to be announcing the dates closer to their times of actual happenings, because
you got to
there's
change
a question
your
mark about
plans
when we're able to leave.
Right.
Exactly.
Okay, so in this case, I'm going to start giving people copblock.org/Mac, because it does have a link to the recent updates on there, and that seems to be the best link to give out. It's the easiest, it's the shortest, copblock.org/Mac. So you were kind of driving at a point before we went away. I'm not sure if you recall what that was, Ademo, but I'll let you pick that back up if you want to.
I lost it as well.
Me
now
too. That's okay. I've got questions. So one of my questions is, let's talk about what was done right here in this situation, because the response on the outside, of course, was great, right? Like when you got arrested, word went out relatively quickly. It was actually in the middle of the night when this happened, probably about 12:30 Eastern time. I was, of course, I happened to be around. I saw the news hitting on Facebook, so I put a blog post out about it over at freekeen.com. And on Facebook, people were saying, all right, here's the phone number for the police department. Here's the phone number for the jail. Go ahead and give them a call. And this is something that happens a lot of times when a cop block activist or a liberty activist, for instance, here in New Hampshire, is arrested for some sort of trumped-up nonsense that doesn't involve a victim. People will come out of the woodwork all around the country, and in some cases around the world, to make phone calls to these bureaucrats and kind of give them a piece of their mind. How do you feel about that? And it certainly happened in this instance, so your thoughts?
I think it's great. Of course, it really helps to let the jail know, your captors, that people are watching you. With so many stories in the news of people being harmed and or worse in jail cells, it's a great thing to have. And just earlier that day, I was having these severe pains in my abdomen, which I think were just like some reactions to some food, is like my gallbladder acting up. But some of my friends knew that, and so we're worried that in a jail cell you don't get the medical attention you need. Luckily, since I was out cop blocking that night, I was to a point where I felt I was fine and I was okay in jail. But them knowing that made them want to call a little bit more, and so it helps the jail to know that too. I don't know if I got any more checks by my window than anybody else did, but I definitely know that all the guards that were in my vicinity knew what was up about my situation, that people were calling about me. And so that's really appreciative. And on a flip side, that it can also help, Kansas wasn't the source of my charges, but in other times when they are the place that is also holding you, it can help get you released, like it had in the past to me in New Hampshire cases or in Las Vegas when I was arrested too. So as well as for many other cop block folks.
Sometimes when a liberty activist or cop blocker is in jail and the jail is receiving calls from people on the outside, it can frustrate the jailers. And some would argue that they could punish you more because they're getting those calls. Yet you still advocate for it, right?
I do. For me, I believe that the good outweighs the bad, and I think that even though it may frustrate them, like, if it frustrates them to the point where they want to come and like give you a punch in the eye, I think they are second taking that because they know people are going to be watching that and they'd have a lot of explaining to do. So even if it might frustrate them a little bit, I don't think it gets you a tremendous amount of, worse treatment. You got to remember, you're in jail. So like the food is bad. The control of you is, at its maximum. And so I think if anything, it keeps you more safe.
I think it does.
Like I said,
too.
I don't.
Did you find any negative repercussions on the call flood?
No, and in fact, at one point, because I was having a lot of troubles because I'm out of state, calling out long distance number because of the jail racket on calling people, and so at one point I wrote a letter to a superior to ask if I could use a regular phone, to get my bailout. And as a side note, I threw it in there that I would let people know to stop calling this jail, because in this case, it would, in my opinion, calling Noblesville or that sheriff's department to get a definitive answer about my extradition would have been a fast way to, if they say no, then the Kansas City jail or Kansas, they would have to let me go. And so I kind of threw that in there as like sugarcoating, but they did actually let me make that call. They gave me a minute, but they took me to a phone. And so I think maybe the calls also helped with that. I don't know. He said it was in case I wanted to help get my bail going, well, which was my goal at that time. But I added that in the form.
Of course, the bail at this point we consider a mistake. I'd like to talk about sort of perhaps another mistake that was made here. And, I mean, whenever you do business, any kind of endeavor, you're going to have to try new things. I think this spray chalk stuff that you guys used might have been a mistake, like not trying this out and then rinsing it off and doing this sort of thing before you went out and did this. It seems like you guys went out, had a good time doing your normal chalking thing. Somebody tried something new and it went poorly. Would you agree?
Yeah, I would 100% agree with you. We actually haven't bought any more of that stuff, even though it's at every Walmart for $1 because yeah, well, majority for the primary reason is that it was really messy and it wasn't very effective. Like regular stick of chalk is just easier. And so I agree that, we might have maybe tested it a little sooner. So I guess we took liquid chalk for the face value on the labeling and went with it. It's funny. We have a video. They're going to try to explain that there was damage to this in less than $2,500. But one of those that was with us that evening ate some of this chalk, and I have it on video. And so it'll be interesting to have them selling it if it gets that far to a jury that it's damaging when I have video of a person eating it that's still alive.
Can you get a jury? Do you know if you can get a jury on a Class B in Indiana? Class B misdemeanor?
Still not sure. If I might have to go through the first where you have the bench trial, and then maybe I can kick it up. But I'm wondering because the warrant came out of the county, not the city, that it's going through Superior right off the bat. But again, first thing tomorrow morning, Brian and I plan to get on the phones, make some more videos, get some more information. All that will be updated, copblock.org/Mac and or copblock.org right on the front page. And so we hope to have those answers, as the week goes on. Our goal is to nip this warrant at least in the butt first and foremost so that we can continue on with our tour. But if they want us to come back, we will.
I'm fresh out of questions. Mark, you got anything else for Ademo Freeman?
I think that's it. Really, it's an unfortunate circumstance, and I hope you guys
not unexpected, but, but unfortunate.
I hope you can
Maybe
get it sorted out.
I didn't think it would be for chalk or some criminal mischief thing.
Dude, these cops are serious about chalking. You should know that by now.
Well, they're also
there's a war on chalk going on.
They're also serious about cop block, and they're serious about you, Ademo. Yeah. I mean, the police officer that took you in was asking you, "Well, what do you think my service is like?" He was mocking you because you on cop block talk about policing as a protective service, and he's saying we're not a service. Please, we're an occupying army, and you'll do what we say, citizen. And this has been an issue over and over.
Hold that thought. It's Free Talk Live.
If you expect secure, privacy-oriented services and real human support from your web hosting provider, choose Virtual Space International. From domain names and SSL certificates to offshore banking accounts, Virtual Space International has been the all-in-one, multi-language solution for over 25 years. And satisfaction is guaranteed or your money back. We even accept Bitcoin. Find out how to get 50% off for life at SaveTimeHosting.com.
As a pioneer of the e-commerce movement, Overstock.com is proud to be the first major retailer to accept Bitcoin. Overstock was the first because Patrick Byrne, Overstock's CEO and founder, firmly believes in personal freedom and cryptocurrency. Over the past 16 years, Overstock has furnished over 18 million homes with a diverse line of products to suit everyone's unique styles and preferences. Support Overstock and freedom of choice while enjoying free shipping on orders of 0.211 Bitcoin or more.
Are your Google search results killing you? Unflattering content in blogs, news articles, online reviews, social media, or other sources can jeopardize your reputation, your business, and your livelihood. Let Reputation.com help. Our patented technology will make the truth about you more visible while pushing down unwanted negative content. Improve your Google search results. Call Reputation.com at 1-800-831-0771 for a free consultation. That's 800-831-0771.
This is Dan Pilla. Do you owe the IRS money you can't pay? Are tax debts crippling you? I've defended people from the IRS for over 30 years. I've helped thousands, and I can help you too. I wrote the book on IRS settlement, and I'm telling you, there's no such thing as a hopeless case. Call 800-34-NO-TAX to finally get free of IRS debt. With the IRS's new programs, there's never been a better time to solve your problem. Call 800-34-NO-TAX. That's 800-34-NO-TAX, or my website, danpilla.com.
Money, power, and respect are all yours at CreditSuccessSecretsRevealed.com. Be seen as an industry leader. You can do it. The last application you filled out when it was time to hit submit, did your nerves spike? You didn't get the approval you seek, but there's a better way. We teach you exactly what to place into the right systems the right way the first time so you get approved. Get up to $100,000 in instant business credit. Many people will get cash on the spot. Use those two tools in your new corporate credit engine so you can walk into the bank and get your project funded today. It's all about today at CreditSuccessSecretsRevealed.com. Credit Success Secrets Revealed is explosive and ignites instant results. Dial 1-800-707-8719. That's 1-800-707-8719. 1-800-707-8719. Or just go to CreditSuccessSecretsRevealed.com.
The three most important things you can do for Free Talk Live are: 1, share one episode a week on Facebook or in some other social networking site. 2, buy the things you buy online through shop.freetalklive.com. 3, give $5 a month to the AMP program. It's my firm belief that Free Talk Live's AMP program is the best use of your charitable dollar among liberty-oriented organizations. Support all the organizations you love, but make sure you give $5 a month to AMP at amp.freetalklive.com.
Are you tired of your taxes funding endless occupations around the world? Antiwar.com is run by people who understand that wars abroad become wars at home, wars on our freedoms. Antiwar.com is dedicated to bringing you the latest in news, views, interviews, and reviews from the top movers and shakers in the anti-occupation movement. Antiwar.com has it all, from thorough foreign policy analysis to interviews with whistleblowers who used to run the military-industrial complex. Anti-war, pro-free market. That's antiwar.com.
Listen to LRN.FM on any phone, anytime. 213-493-0309. That's 213-493-0309.
This is Free Talk Live, and of course, you can join us here on the radio waves. Our toll-free number is 855-450-FREE. 855-450-3733. Ademo, thank you for coming on Free Talk Live. He did have to run. He's got a lot going on. Obviously, you just get out of jail. There's a lot to catch up on. Of course, he was there as part of the Cop Block Tour, the new Mac tour that you can go to copblock.org/Mac. It's great that he's out of jail. And we'll keep you updated as this situation continues to develop. The warrants are still active out of Indiana. And, of course, we are kind of the primary media hub for Cop Block at the moment, given that Free Talk Live, by the way, is sponsoring that very same Cop Block Mac tour. So just like back in the old days when Cop Block first got started, we were sponsoring the Liberty On tour that Ademo was doing, and we're sponsoring Mac today. Mark, we do have Free Talk Live, LRN, and Free Keen sponsorship of that tour, which is awesome.
Indeed.
I'm glad to be behind it once again. So we'll keep you in the loop there. Copblock.org/Mac to learn more. And let's go to Rob, listening in Kansas. You're on Free Talk Live. Hello, Rob.
Yes, hey, you guys.
Welcome.
Love to enjoy the information and education of Cop Block.
Thanks.
I've been following Pete Earl and Ademo and the Mac tour. I'm out near Abilene, Kansas, and should Ademo and Brian get this way, I'd love to accommodate them with a place to park their camper and a little
That's awesome.
fellowship.
Here's what I'd recommend you do. Reach out to them directly through copblock.org/Mac. That would be the best way to do it. He may still be listening, but the best way to reach out is directly through their site.
Yeah, I don't. I've been a victim of identity theft, and I'm kind of curious about putting my information out. I might call back and leave my info with the announcer, and he can be sure that the demo gets it, and he can reach to me through my phone number or something.
Well, by announcer, you mean the people on the radio. You're on the radio, and and we are those people. But yeah,
right. Your producer, whatever.
Yeah, I think you're better off just sending an email to them or using a contact form at copblock.org/Mac. But thank you for the generous offer. I really do. I'm sure they appreciate it, and they appreciate the support. What else did you want to share with our audience tonight?
Recently, like I say, through the wisdom that I've gained through Cop Block, I'd gotten a ticket for 74 and a 55. And I decided we're going to court. They're not going to give me a break on the court cost. They're going to earn their keep if they're going to charge me for such. In the interest of justice, they said in the letter they sent me for dismissing my charges, which we know it was the interest of finances, that they dismissed the charges.
Excellent.
So that saved me a few dollars.
Congratulations on that. Did you have to in Kansas when you want to challenge a ticket? Do they make you pay it in advance or some nonsense like that, like they do in some states?
No, I was just given a ticket and a court date, and I went through the procedures. They told me that, these are, I've showed up for court date a day early, and we just had a little hearing there with the clerk. We're taking it to trial unless you want to make a deal on the court cost. I would consider paying it, or we could take it to trial. And they offered me a thing called a diversion, where you pay another $250 on top of your fine, your court cost, for 6 months of no tickets, and they will not put this to where it books your insurance. And anyway, I called up and told them I was needing to reschedule my appointment because I had a doctor's appointment at the VA hospital the day of my trial. And they were giving me the rigmarole that we can't rearrange that court date because it's set in stone.
I'm sorry, sir. Your health is secondary to our court procedures.
Yep.
You're going to
But
need
if the
to be
judge
here.
has the sniffles, you can believe that he'll be fine.
And so when did they decide to drop the charge?
It was about 2 weeks before the trial date that I'd called them up and was asking about rearranging that appointment or that date because of my appointment. And the lady was like, well, you could just pay it out, and if you'd like to just pay it and not come to trial. I was like, no, ma'am, we're going to trial. And again, I'd like to request a jury trial. And I've not received my evidence that I requested in a motion of discovery. Then she said, well, hang on a minute. And she said, there was some paperwork with your name that come through. And then, oh, by the way, we just got this letter that the judge dismissed your case.
Well, what a shocking surprise. Right within the same phone call, they were trying to get you to take a plea deal. And, oh, look, I just found this letter from the judge. How did that slip my mind?
You mean we haven't given you the evidence from discovery? Oh, looks like it's dismissed.
Yeah.
Great story, Rob. I want to thank you for your call tonight, man. I really appreciate hearing from you. It's a great story. And you can have an experience like that, too, if you're willing to actually take something to trial.
Yeah, we've had these experiences when we've done stuff like this.
You had a parking ticket dropped, in fact.
They just dropped it, and, I've taken speeding tickets in and gotten them at half price. Basically, if you put up some resistance, they tend to fold. But you don't know unless you try. Sometimes they don't.
That's true.
And, I'm not saying that it's worth trying.
And it will cost you.
Sometimes it's not worth trying, right? When it comes to a $5 parking ticket here in Keene, New Hampshire, sometimes I feel like, messing with these guys, and it's worth it to me. It's an opportunity. Whereas other times, it doesn't seem like it at all. It's like I've got things to do, and I'm just not interested in giving my time over to these bureaucrats. They know this.
Me, on the other hand, I will challenge every single ticket because that's the right thing to do. I mean, if
it's the right thing to do, then you'll go out and get some more tickets so you can challenge some more.
We've actually kind of done that to some extent, but it's actually to the point now where I want to get a ticket now because I want to do a corporate trial. Because I've actually got some new questions to ask about corporations on the stand. The car that I drive is actually owned by a corporation. It's not technically my car. I just drive it. And so if they ticket a corporation, then that could give me the opportunity to ask questions about corporations of the parking enforcers. And that could be kind of a different thrust for a trial. So the last time I went downtown, I purposely left my meter unpaid. Because I'll still pay the meter generally because I don't want to go to trial if I don't have to. But if they're going to threaten me with a fine, then I'm not just going to keel over and pay that. I'm going to go ahead and challenge it. And you can have interesting things happen like that. You do need to know a few basics, and he went through them. Put in that motion for discovery. That way, as soon as you decide you want the trial, you go with not guilty, or actually, as I do, I never actually plead. I'll just let them know I want my trial. I'm not going to plead not guilty because I don't want to beg them for anything because I know they'll just schedule the trial anyway. As long as I don't plead guilty, they'll go ahead and schedule the trial. So go ahead and give me the trial. Let's get this scheduled. Okay, motion for discovery or notice for discovery. Send that in to the prosecutor and the court. This isn't legal advice; it's just my experience. And then they have to provide you with all of the evidence that they're going to use against you, and that's work. They got to come up with some of that. It's usually not much evidence in the case of a parking ticket or something like that, but they have to provide whatever they have.
They're going to do more than $5 worth of work for them, too.
Just at that part. And then there's a whole lot more than $5 worth of work when they actually do go through with the trial process. And to me, the real win of challenging a parking ticket is to get the parking enforcers off the streets. So in Keene, New Hampshire, where we live, or the area in which we live, there are only 2 parking enforcers. This is a small town, basically. It's technically a city, but it barely qualifies. So only 2 parking enforcers. If I can take one of those 2 parking enforcers off the streets for an entire morning, or however long it takes to actually go through the trial, because usually they'll make you sit through all the arraignments in the morning.
Yep.
So I've sat in there for 2 hours or 3 hours before they'll actually call the trial, and so has the parking enforcer. So she'll sit there as long as in fact, there was one time recently when I went in to try to do a ticket, try to take over one of Derek J's tickets, one of our former co-hosts. He left and went to San Francisco, but he actually forgot about a parking ticket trial that he had. I went in there with authorization from him, although it was last-minute authorization to try to kind of take over the trial. And the parking enforcer was there before I was. So she was in there for even longer.
She's paid hours. She's paid for her schedule. She doesn't care.
She's getting paid, but she's not writing tickets while she's sitting in that room, which means that there are probably, for every hour she's expected to write a certain number of tickets, and she's not doing that if she is sitting in a courtroom. So to me, that's the real win. I'm happy to pay a $5 fine, even if I get found guilty, if that means saving the people of Keene from having to pay hundreds of dollars ultimately, or maybe $100 worth of fines.
Oh, sometimes if you don't pay that $5, if you forget about that $5 ticket, it turns into a $25 ticket pretty quick.
It doubles up and then doubles up again or whatever. And I think the average ticket here is only $10, but the starts at $5. Anyway, so if you want to learn more about what's happening here, you can go to freekeen.com. Of course, the Robin Hooding case is still going on, which is something I'm involved in, where the city is suing us for filling people's parking meters for them. They're accusing the Robin Hooders of being threatening, intimidating, and harassing of their employees. Just go check out robinhood.freekeen.com. You can learn more about that. All right, so still to come here tonight, more on healthcare. We've got the story from Illinois where the lotto is now refusing to pay out folks if they've won more than $600. And also the second Snowden, someone releasing dirty details about the U.S. drone program. Join us. This is Free Talk Live.
When the most powerful and destructive witch in 13th century France chooses a successor, her frightened young protege, Liana, escapes into the wild. Pursued by witch hunters, the town watch, and her mistress, Liana's only hope is a pair of newly returned crusaders, one with PTSD, the other a complete rascal. The Witch's Hand by Wendy Joseph is a cut above the usual sword and sorcery fare. Available now at your favorite booksellers or visit wendyjosephwrites.com.
DVD, books, music, instruments, periodicals, computers, software, electronics, photo, cell phones, office products, home and garden, bed and bath, furniture, kitchen, pet supplies, automotive, hardware, apparel, shoes, jewelry, grocery, healthcare, sports and outdoors, toys, games, used, and more. It's a department store at your fingertips. Shop.freetalklive.com. Get all your shopping done, get a great deal, and a portion of your purchase goes to benefit Free Talk Live when you enter Amazon via shop.freetalklive.com.
Radio is the most personal of mediums. I exist right now in your head. If you listen to Free Talk Live regularly, you know me. Free Talk Live is on more than 160 radio stations around the U.S. and has been downloaded on every continent around the world. Hundreds of thousands of listeners with ad packages from $600 a month to $6,000 a month. Imagine what we can do for your business, project, website, or idea. Email me, mark@freetalklive.com.
You can listen to Free Talk Live on the radio, podcast, satellite, webcam, and our live streams. But did you know you can listen to Free Talk Live from any phone, anywhere? Add this number to your phone, 213-493-0308. It's a long-distance call, so make sure you're familiar with your phone's calling plan. The listen lines are airing the latest episode of Free Talk Live 24 hours a day, including our live shows. Call 213-493-0308. That's 213-493-0308.
You're listening to the live edition of Free Talk Live. Hour number 3 is next after the news here on the Liberty Radio Network at LRN.FM.
From Keene in the Shire, the Liberty Media capital of the world, this is Daryl W. Perry, host of FPP Radio News for Sunday, October 18th, 2015. Silver is trading at $16.05 per ounce. Gold is valued at $1,177 per ounce. And according to BitcoinAverage.com, the average price of Bitcoin is $268. Antiwar.com reports Saudi warplanes have come under growing criticism for their massive civilian death toll in their months of bombing Yemen. They insist the attacks aren't intentional and their incompetence in hitting actual enemies seems to be growing all the time. Saturday, in their airstrikes against the Taiz province, Saudi warplanes attacked a military base belonging to their own coalition, killing 30 allied fighters and wounding 40 others. The official statement was simply that the plane hit the wrong target. This is the latest in a string of friendly fire incidents by the Saudi warplanes and the first which hit one of their own bases. Previous incidents saw the airstrikes hitting troops marching against Houthi positions, stalling their own offensives. The Taiz province was also the site of a massive Saudi airstrike against a wedding party last month, which killed 13 civilians. This incident caused a lot of criticism during the UN General Assembly, though ultimately Saudi objections prevented the UN from passing a resolution of an independent investigation. For over 35 years, Robertson Roberts has been a trusted source for buying and selling your investment-grade precious metals. They also take Bitcoin for precious metal purchases and permanently removed the minimum purchase order for all orders paid in the digital currency. Call Robertson Roberts today for knowledgeable advice on investing and a forward-thinking approach to new technologies. 850-478-5270 or online at rrbi.co. UPI reports the Obama administration canceled offshore drilling in Alaska's Arctic Ocean for the coming 2 years after scrapping current and future drilling plans in the Chukchi and Beaufort Seas. The Department of the Interior announced it is canceling 2 lease sales it had planned for the next 2 years for Arctic drilling rights and denied requests from 2 oil companies to extend leases on drilling rights. It comes less than a month after Shell Oil pulled its drilling operation out of the Arctic, citing disappointing results and high cost. Sally Jewell, Secretary of the Interior, said, in light of Shell's announcement, the amount of acreage already under lease and current market condition, it does not make sense to prepare for lease sales in the Arctic. In making the change, the Interior Department said it will cancel the 2 potential Arctic offshore lease sales, and it rejected appeals by Shell and Statoil to extend Arctic leases first obtained during the administration of George W. Bush. Republican Senator Lisa Murkowski of Alaska called the decision a stunning, short-sighted move that betrays the Interior Department's commitments to Alaska. Murkowski posted on Twitter, "This is the latest in a destructive pattern of hostility toward energy production that began the first day this administration took office." You can support FPP Radio by joining the Fans program. Fans are friends, allies, and numerous supporters. Fans help FPP afford to produce more original content. You can join the Fans program for as little as $3 per month or any amount of Bitcoin per month, thanks to the recurring payment options provided by Coinbase. To learn more or to join the Fans program, visit fans.fppradio.com. Reuters reports Canada's political leaders began their final weekend dashes on Saturday before voters decide on Monday whether to grant Conservative Prime Minister Stephen Harper a rare 4th consecutive mandate after a long and hard-fought campaign. Harper attended a Toronto rally that was organized in part by controversial former Toronto Mayor Rob Ford, who admitted to smoking crack during his time in office. Now a city councillor, Ford's small government anti-tax message has kept him popular in parts of Toronto's vote-rich suburbs. Harper was introduced by Ford's brother Doug, who has said he would consider a Conservative leadership run if Harper left. At an earlier event in Quebec, Harper touted his economic track record and dodged questions about his relationship with the Fords. The Liberals are leading the Conservatives by as much as 8 percentage points in polls, sitting as high as 38%, very close to what is needed to win a majority in Parliament. Thomas Mulcair, leader of the left-leaning New Democratic Party, NDP, took aim at Justin Trudeau and the ethics of his Liberal team. Trudeau's campaign co-chair was forced to resign last week over controversial advice to an energy company on how to lobby a future Liberal government. The NDP leader, whose party is in 3rd place in the polls, likened the situation to a corruption scandal that unfolded in Quebec a decade ago when the Liberals held power. This has been FPP Radio News, online at fppradio.com.
A reclusive deity hasn't written a new book in 2,000 years, and a local rescue dog is adopted for a couple weeks. This is the Onion Week in Review. This week, in a devastating blow to the nation's laundry, 16,000 Americans were reportedly stained during the messiest day in U.S. history. Reports confirm that nearly 3,000 citizens received permanent stains on their good shirt from mustard splatter off a dropped hot dog, along with 12,000 cases of spilled coffee and other dark beverages, ruining Americans' pair of hand-wash-only pants. Government officials further indicated that federal assistance for the nation's overwhelmed dry cleaners would be necessary. And in this week's local news, an elderly Rite Aid patron stretches out a conversation about toothpaste to prolong human contact. In other news, artifacts discovered buried in Washington, D.C. suggest humans once passed laws there. A self-centered child blames his parents' divorce entirely on himself. And a night of uninterrupted sleep really throws off a man's entire day.
This is the Onion News Network.
Free Talk Live.
Oh, yes, it is Free Talk Live. And you're invited to join us on the radio here. Our toll-free number is 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733. What happens when the lottery runs out of money? That has happened in the state of Illinois, which is one of the states in the United States that's having the most financial crisis of all of the states. California is in kind of tough shape. Michigan is also, Detroit certainly, and Michigan as a whole having a tough time. And Illinois is another one of them. Joining you in the studio, it's Ian and Mark as normal, but actually James is joining us here for the final hour of the program. Hey, James.
Hello.
James Cleveland. You longtime listeners may know him as Robin Hood, or the Mastermind, as
That's right.
he was called on the Colbert Report, which was filed, that was almost a year ago. I think it was December of last year when that came out.
Yep.
So let me bring you up to speed. If you're just tuning in here, the state of Illinois is now refusing to pay out to any lotto winners over $600. They're telling lotto winners over $600, we'll pay you when we get around to it, when we get the money to pay you. It's an IOU. Here you go.
That's just incredible that it could, it's like the best casino in the world running the lottery.
Well,
like, how could it be? How could it not have the money?
They have a near monopoly. They certainly have a monopoly over the territory of Illinois, and so the answer to how they don't have the money, though, is apparently because the lotto revenues go into the general fund. The money to pay out has to be dispersed by the state legislature, and right now there's like one of those budget impasses, and so therefore, until the budget thing gets worked out, no one can supposedly authorize money to be paid into the account that can then pay out to these lotto winners. So if you are winning more than $600 in Illinois, sorry, you can't cash in on that until they feel like paying you. Now, it started at $25,000. So back in July, prizes larger than $25,000 were being told, you get an IOU. We're not going to pay you. Now they've made that $600. So it's becoming even more of a clampdown.
It makes you wonder why anyone would play the lottery in Illinois if you can't win.
Fewer and fewer people are deciding to quit playing. In fact, let me continue.
Are deciding to quit playing, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
I guess more people. Thank you. More people are deciding to stop playing, or fewer people are playing. So here's the story from the Chicago Tribune. The attorney, Thomas Zimmerman, who's now suing on behalf of a couple of dozen lotto players who haven't gotten their winnings, he's saying the state is violating the lottery's law, or the lotto law, by using the money to pay the lottery's operating costs and ongoing administrative expenses. So the bureaucrats
yes, of course.
They're coming to work. They're sitting around and writing IOUs to people, and they're getting paid. But they're not paying the winners. He says, is the lottery director not earning a paycheck? And all of the employees who run the lotto, how are they getting paid? The lawsuit also named the Lotto's acting director, B.R. Lane, the lottery's private management company, North Star Lottery Group. There's a private company managing it. That's interesting. And the Illinois Lottery Control Board. An Illinois lottery spokesman said he could not comment on pending legal action. Joe Joost, age 62, a truck driver from Chicago's Belmont-Cragen neighborhood, said he's joining the lawsuit. He was in the pool of 25 Illinois lotto players who won $1 million in early September, with 28,500.
I'd like to get a hold of that.
with $28,500 in winnings for him after taxes. But what?
He's one of 25.
Oh, he's one of 25. Okay. I thought for a moment it was 25 people won $1 million each, but 25 have to split the money.
This is a nice vacation.
So, $28,500 was his take, supposedly, but the state has yet to release the prize. Juice said that he and his pool intend to keep playing the lotto, but they won't be buying another ticket in Illinois. They're going to cross state lines. He says, we have one gentleman who goes to Michigan about once a week. If he's going up to Michigan, we'll play in Michigan. We have another gentleman who goes to Indiana a lot. So they're pooling lotto purchases now. They found one of their buddies who's going into Michigan and saying, all right, yeah, pick up 10 tickets for me, or 50 tickets or whatever.
Takes a lot for the folks from Illinois to step down to the doing business in Indiana, I'll tell you.
They,
every state has their state that it's okay to make fun of, and you wherever you are, you know which state this is. For instance, in Florida, it's Georgia. Unless you live in the Panhandle, in which case it's Alabama. But
James is from Georgia, by the way.
James is from Georgia.
I've never made fun of Georgia.
I haven't either. It's just that this is what's done.
Yeah, Georgia is Alabama for sure.
Is that right?
Have you,
Yeah.
Ian? I've heard you make country accents all the time. Who are you thinking of when you make those country accents?
Southerners.
Because we have an accent. The country accent that we use is often the Florida-Georgia accent.
Is that right?
There's very little difference between the Florida and Georgia country.
Is there a difference, though, between Alabama accent and Florida accent or whatever?
Yeah, I think there is. I mean,
okay. I'd have to hear a comparison because I wouldn't be able to tell you.
You probably find that on YouTube somewhere.
Jeff is in Illinois, and you're on Free Talk Live listening to WRMN in Elgin. Hey, Jeff.
Hey, guys. A lot of people I used to work with, the lottery was their retirement plan, so I don't know what they're going to do now. They're going to have to come up with some other plan. But the state is going to save a lot of people a lot of money. And I've said, that our politicians are so corrupt, the only chance for them is really to collapse and fail and go bankrupt, because, we can't probably fight them. So they just have to collapse from their own internal corruption. And there's another thing. You guys had a guy that chalked the police sidewalk. There was a guy online. I was looking for it. He chalked a bank sidewalk, and they really went after him with, I don't know if they put him in jail or sued him or something.
Yeah, I think this was in Orlando.
Really?
And there's like I could be wrong. I think it was like a federal case.
And this was a public sidewalk in front of a bank?
That's right. I think it was like it was kind of like anti-capitalist messages. I think it was in front of Bank of America. And I think the ACLU ended up taking on the case, and they won it federally.
Oh, really?
Yep.
Oh, good to know.
On YouTube, I'm looking at it says San Diego City Attorney's Office prosecutes case over anti-bank chalk messages on sidewalk.
Well, apparently they prosecuted and then ultimately lost at the federal level. Thanks for the call tonight, Jeff. I appreciate hearing from you. A worker at Red Roof Liquor and Lotto in Columbia, Illinois, near the Missouri state line, said about 80% of his clientele typically come from Missouri. With gas and cigarettes cheaper in Missouri, the Illinois lottery used to be the biggest draw for patrons, but he said that's no longer the case. The worker, who did not want to be named, said for the last 2 months we've seen a decrease since September. People are saying the state won't pay them. Casimir Sozik, who works at Santori's Liquors in southern suburban Lansing, said ever since lottery payments were delayed, customers keep talking about going to nearby Indiana to buy tickets. He said, I've had people say, I'm done with this, but I've seen them come back. More people are bringing it up. Tom Remsen of Rockford said he buys lotto tickets about 4 times a year when there's a big jackpot. He says he'll continue to play in Illinois despite the payment delay because it would still be worth it to win big, even if he has to wait for payment.
Yeah, I don't know everything there is to know about the lottery, but I would assume, there's no bigger chance of winning.
No, in fact, I think it's worse.
Fewer people there, right? There's less money to win, right?
Well, if the jackpot gets big, more people play.
Yes.
So your chances go down, I think.
Okay, so you think that people getting out of playing the lotto increases people's chances of winning?
No, it wouldn't increase your chances at all.
Your ping pong balls come up, but they don't come up.
That's right.
And
yeah, I guess that's a good point.
I just don't. But
it decreases the jackpot, which means fewer people will be playing.
But if 2 people win the same, their ping pong numbers are the same, then they have to split a prize that otherwise they wouldn't.
Odds
so
are very slim that will occur.
Yeah.
Yeah, my understanding, I guess, is if they don't win, it rolls over.
Yeah, that's true. Well, Ian, but odds are slim. But when you're talking about millions of people playing, then the odds don't have to be large.
Well, the other thing is they have different rules. So maybe if you get like 4 out of 6, there might be a payout.
Yeah, that's true.
And so then, like the more people that play, I can tell you from experience, this is always the case. Like, there'd always be pools when the jackpot was huge. Like everyone would throw in,
It should be interesting to see, how this ends up playing out. I wonder what percentage of people are deciding to say, screw the Illinois lottery. We're not going to play anymore. We'll, get our tickets somewhere else or just stop playing.
The ones that are near the border or, cross it on a regular basis, I imagine are the ones who are doing that. If you're playing the lottery, you've probably going to want to cash in as quickly as you can. So you're not going to play the Illinois lottery. But if you don't go anywhere near the border, then you're like, oh, well, whatever.
This guy, Tom Remsen, says he hopes like heck that the payment would come if he wins, but he does wonder how Illinois officials would respond if the situation were reversed. He said, how would the state react if we told them we don't have the money to pay taxes? But when it becomes available, we'll give it to you.
It'd be a bad day for him.
Yeah, I hope people start doing that in Illinois. It'd be awesome. It's Free Talk Live.
Every once in a while, you get information that's worth changing your life for. This is one such time. You can save up to and beyond 25% on all purchases at Amazon. You probably heard of Bitcoin and just not thought much about it. You certainly know that you can get competitive pricing at Amazon, but now you can get a 25% discount on nearly everything you need to live. I've just given you a huge raise, and all you have to do is claim it. You go to saveitpurse.com and open an account. Do this right now. Don't wait. Then you fund the account with Bitcoin. You can buy them through expresscoin.com with a check or money order. There are other ways to get Bitcoin, but that's fast, safe, and easy. This information is worth you changing the way you do things. Go to saveitpurse.com right now, get signed up, and cash in on the huge raise I'm offering you. 15 to 25% off of everything at Amazon through saveitpurse.com. It's saveatpurse.com.
We all know that Berkey Water Purification Systems are the most trusted name in water filtration. As an authorized Berkey dealer for over 6 years and serving thousands of satisfied customers, the Berkey Guy offers amazing specials for Berkey Water Filtration Systems. The Berkey Light Systems include a set of self-sterilizing and recleanable black purification elements that purify water by removing chlorine, pathogenic bacteria, cysts, and parasites to non-detectable levels and remove harmful chemicals such as herbicides and pesticides. Order the Berkey Light System today, complete with 2 black Berkey elements for only $231, and the Berkey Guy will ship your order free of charge. With the purchase of a Berkey Light, the Berkey Guy is also offering a set of fluoride and arsenic filters for only $39.99. That's over 30% off the retail price. Call the Berkey Guy at 1-877-886-3653. That's 1-877-886-3653. Or order online at goberkey.com. That's goberkey.com today.
Understanding your credit score is the first step towards managing and improving it. This is Charlie Sundstrom with your Van Dyke Mortgage Minute. The most influential component of your credit score is your payment history. Almost equally as important is the amount you owe on credit accounts. Also impacting your score, but to a lesser degree, are the length of time you've utilized your credit, the number of new accounts, credit inquiries, and your various types of credit accounts. To help achieve or maintain a healthy credit score, have a system set up to assure your bills are always paid on time. Don't max out your cards. It's better to have a high credit limit with a low balance. Never close old accounts. The age of these can actually help your credit score. But don't be afraid to use your credit. You need several accounts in order to have a credit score. Just keep the corresponding payments within your means. For your mortgage pre-approval and refi needs, start by visiting VanDykeMortgage.com.
Corporate NMLS 3035. Van Dyke Mortgage is an equal housing lender. Charlie Sundstrom, NMLS 134251.
Did you know that you can listen to and watch Free Talk Live during our live shows 7 days a week from 7 to 10 p.m. Eastern via our studio cam at cam.freetalklive.com? Not only that, but you can also chat with other listeners at the same time. Do I need to mention that both the studio cam and chat room are totally free? Outside of Free Talk Live's live hours, you won't see a cam feed, but will hear audio from the Liberty Radio Network. So listen, watch, and chat all free at cam.freetalklive.com. That's cam.freetalklive.com. When I found the Free State Project, I knew it was the key to achieving liberty in my lifetime. It's awesome to be surrounded by like-minded, freedom-loving activists who've moved here to New Hampshire. From politics to civil disobedience, we have it all. Where I came from, it felt that no matter what I did, liberty was dying. Perhaps you feel the same way? Call 888-377-2515 now to learn more about the Free State Project. That's 888-377-2515 or visit freestateproject.org.
If you enjoy LRN.FM, please contribute to your favorite shows via their websites and become an amplifier at amp.lrn.fm. That's amp.lrn.fm.
It's Free Talk Live. You may join us if you'd like. The toll-free number is 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733. More on the way about the drone documents. There's a new Snowden out there, and no one knows who this person is, that has released to The Intercept, which is Glenn Greenwald's publication online. I didn't mention that earlier. Has released some damning documents regarding the U.S. government's drone strikes. We'll continue with that discussion. Also, you need to know about My Magic Mud 2.0.
Yeah, they've come out with a new hygienic bamboo applicator to easily dispense the mud under your tongue. Now, when they say it's mud, it becomes mud when it mixes with your saliva. It is
it's powder.
Yeah, it's black powder. I guess it's charcoalized coconut husks and some kind of clay that what it does is it really bonds very quickly to things. And
like stains in your teeth?
Yeah, stains. I used it one time, removed most of the stains, coffee stains on my teeth. And with it 4 applications, it had completely removed all the stains in sort of the, the hard to reach places, as it were. And I used it every day for, I think it was 2 weeks. And then after that, I switched to once every 3 days. I think there are about 150 applications per container. So this stuff will last you a good long time. It's backed by, let's say they've got dozens of dentists that are behind My Magic Mud. Many people will be concerned of its abrasiveness because it's a whitener and it's a stain remover, really. It'll make your teeth as white as they're supposed to be, not this freakish glow-in-the-dark stuff.
It's actually good for sensitive teeth, though, right?
It's awesome for sensitive teeth. And now you can get it at a 20% discount. And before I tell you how to get it for a 20% discount, this is my endorsement for My Magic Mud. I will never live without My Magic Mud or some kind of thing that does this in the future. It's done a great job for me. My teeth don't feel clean without using it. My dentist, my hygienist, they've said that my mouth is cleaner. My mouth is now healthier than it's ever been before. That's my endorsement. My opinion is that some of the best, most important thing you can do for your health exists in oral hygiene. It can help prevent heart attacks and all kinds of different things. So my endorsement is you should get My Magic Mud because it's been so awesome for me. As a matter of fact, we're doing these ads right now because I called them up and I said, hey, you want to trade some ads for some My Magic Mud?
Really?
Yes, that's why we're doing it right now. Because I want my mud, man. I had run out. I'm scraping the bottom of my container. I didn't have anything left. I'd given them all away to co-hosts and people I liked. So it was time to get some more. And now you can get a 20% discount just because they loved the fact that I was so excited. They gave us a coupon code. Go to mymagicmud.com. Use coupon code FTL to get a 20% discount as a thank you for being a Free Talk Live listener.
You know, I think we're coming up on the holiday season here real fast, and you want to talk about a great gift?
It's a gift people won't get for themselves because it's just so odd, right?
Yeah.
Black tooth powder. But if they use it for every day for a week, they're never going to I doubt they'll stop because I didn't.
Right.
That was my experience.
Yeah, it's a shocker, and it's kind of one of those weird gifts, too, because what? It's counterintuitive. Black powder is going to make my teeth cleaner? Well, yeah. It works.
mymagicmud.com, coupon code FTL.
Dirk is on the line in Indiana. You're on Free Talk Live listening to LRN.FM. Hello, Dirk.
It's Derek.
Oh, sorry about that, Derek. Go ahead.
Oh, that's okay. Hey, well, since y'all talking about white teeth and all this other stuff, I really wanted to ask you a question about, do anybody know what's going on with the Sam Boys
the
case?
What?
Whether Sam or the guy that got killed by Ray Tinson?
By who?
Ray Tenson.
Yep.
I don't know what
anything.
you're talking
No,
about.
no,
I'm
I don't.
sorry. What is this incident? Where did it happen?
Did you see cop that killed the African American guy? He pulled him over.
There have been so many cops that have killed so many people. I mean, there have been 800 fatal police shootings, I believe, this year thus far in the United States. I'm sure many of them were black victims. So are you talking about the guy who was shot by the cop because he didn't get out of his car fast enough or whatever?
Yep.
Okay,
Yep.
yeah, I did see that one, where the cop just blasted him because he was like reaching back in his car to grab his wallet.
Yep.
What about that case? Or were you asking us if we knew anything about it?
Have we heard anything else about it?
No, I have not.
It looks like they might have indicted the cop for that.
Well, that's a shock.
Ray Tensine.
Thanks for checking that, James.
Yeah.
I appreciate that. So there you go. Maybe there's an indictment against the cop. Odds are that won't go anywhere because even if they indict the cops, they frequently won't find them guilty of anything significant. I mean, the cops in San Francisco that one cop that shot a man in the back as he was handcuffed on the ground and being held down by other cops, that cop got 11 months in prison. So I wouldn't expect any miracles as far as the cops having to pay any kind of significant consequences for this. Thank you, Derek, for your call tonight. But if you want to follow those kind of stories, I would say copblock.org is the #1 resource to pay attention to those issues.
Yeah, I remember reading about qualified immunity in Gwinnett County, Georgia, when I was starting a business there. And basically my reading of it was they could be doing an inspection and kill me and they're going to just walk. Complete immunity. It was just ridiculous.
Pretty much. Yeah.
They could burn the building down. They could do whatever they wanted.
Qualified immunity is what law enforcement and some other government bureaucracies have that essentially holds them personally not liable for their actions. And when people are no longer liable for their actions, people act entirely differently.
You can join us. Toll-free number, 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733. Mark, you had wanted to comment on healthcare earlier in the show here tonight. We're literally talking about hour number 1. So can you kind of briefly bring our listeners up to speed?
Yeah, a caller called in. Was it Frank? Was his name?
I don't know.
I can't remember exactly.
I don't keep a record.
Yeah, and it was, and he brought up the issue of healthcare and there's lots of concerns around healthcare. I have lots of concerns around healthcare too. Prices are so incredibly high. You look around the world, industrialized nations, except for the United States, essentially provide some kind of relief to their citizens because for the cost of healthcare, whether they have single payer or whatever they've got something. And so it stands to reason, prices are out of control. Big businesses like insurance companies and big pharma and these sorts of things are cashing in on our need for health care. And so we're going to use the government to regulate pricing in this area in whatever way we're going to do it. So we need that. Well, yes, but okay, I get why you need that. But what the problem is that what we need to understand is the government's been involved in healthcare for a very long time. Mm-hmm. Back when there was a 90% tax bracket, one of the ways that businesses would attract the talent that would make the sorts of paychecks that would put them in this 90% tax bracket is they give them things like health insurance, dental, optical, these kind of insurance programs. That way they could get, dollar for dollar, they'd be helping their employee, they'd be attracting an employee rather than dime for a dollar. You see, when you were paying, for every dollar you pay into an employee into the 90% tax bracket, you're only giving them a dime. So they would offer them perks, the company car, insurance, and all these sorts of things. So they created an atmosphere where the government gave away the government caused businesses to give away insurance, making people serfs. I have a solution.
Hey, Berkey Guy here. Are you still drinking unfiltered tap water? Does your water contain chlorine or fluoride? Will you have drinkable water in an emergency? The Berkey Guy is here to help you remove these and other potential contaminants from your water, thus helping you drink clean, purified water. We offer Berkey water purification systems at the lowest available prices online. Don't go another moment without Berkey system. Over the last 10 years, we've helped thousands drink clean, purified water. Join them by visiting goberkey.com or call me, the Berkey Guy, at 877-886-3653. That's 877-886-3653.
Owe $10,000 or more to the IRS?
Get on board with the Tax Admiral. Don't pick on the IRS alone. I'll cut penalties and reduce your overall tax bill. Sometimes I can even get it zeroed out completely.
We're an A-rated company helping people clean up their mess with the IRS.
If you owe $10,000 or more, then call the Tax Admiral.
Call 800-287-7180. Again, that's 800-287-7180. 800-287-7180.
Keenvention is coming up fast, October 30th through November 1st. Get your tickets now at keenvention.info. Keenvention is an intimate event where you can meet dozens of key liberty activists from across the Shire, including Oathkeeper Chris Reitman, Libertarian presidential candidate Darrell W. Perry, illegal Uber driver Christopher David, Neocash Radio's Dr. Darren Tapp, State Representative Mike Sylvia, rated an A+ by the NHLA, the Seditious Sirens, the Rebel Love Show's Rob Mathias, tech guru Brian Sovereign, cop blocker J.P. Freeman, new mover Dr. Taryn Lupo, longtime political activist Dennis Goddard, Church of the Invisible Hand minister Rich Paul, Shire Dude, and dozens more. Only 100 tickets are available in advance, so lock yours in now for just $60 or with Bitcoin. That includes access to the Halloween costume dance party. Reserve your tickets now at keenvention.info. Visit keenvention.info for more speaker announcements, or look for our page and event on Facebook. That's keenvention.info.
This Your Family Today tip is brought to you by Nesquik. Try Nesquik 4-packs, perfect for lunches and great for kids on the go. Look for it in the juice aisle. Snack time is a great chance to sneak extra calcium into your child's diet without making him feel like he's eating something he doesn't want. Serve up dairy-rich foods like smoothies, flavored milk, frozen yogurt, and string cheese. He'll love the treat, and you'll love knowing how good it is for him. For more tips like these, visit us at parenthood.com/yourfamilytoday.
LRN.FM is proud to announce our official listening apps for Android and iOS devices. Now you can easily tune into our streams anywhere, anytime on your smartphone or tablet. Just visit apps.lrn.fm or search for LRN.FM in the Android or Apple app stores. Please download, rate it 5 stars, then share the link on social media, and let your friends and family know how you're listening to LRN.FM. Download it now, free at apps.lrn.fm. That's apps.lrn.fm.
Studies show that more and more teenagers are leaving Facebook, but where are they going instead? Apparently, to the hottest new social media site in years, the comment section of this YouTube video of a deer running in slow motion. Already, its comment section is seeing over 30 million active users. Facebook isn't giving up so easily, incorporating images and videos of deer, elk, reindeer, and even moose into their layout. But teens say that misses the point entirely. In fact, the site's one unwritten rule: don't post anything about the video itself. Teens say that's not cool. But with more and more people swapping over to the comments section of the slow motion deer video by the day, some trend watchers warn it may begin going the way of Facebook.
I was obsessed with it for a while, but now it's just boring. I'm probably going to switch over to Happy Fast Kitchen.
While we don't know for sure, we believe Happy Fast Kitchen might refer to the Yelp page for a Chinese food restaurant in Cleveland, the new social media site where musician Skrillex recently dropped his latest album.
This is the Onion News Network.
You can put the Liberty Radio Network on the air in your area. Visit broadcast.lrn.fm to learn how. Broadcast.lrn.fm.
This is Free Talk Live, and you're invited to join us here on the live Sunday edition. The toll-free number is 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733. Also, you may join us via Skype at Skype username LRN.FM. Mark, you're going to give us the solution to the healthcare problem.
It's the impossible solution to the healthcare problem, unfortunately. I think the best thing to do is to you do whatever search engine you use and search the impossible healthcare solution, and you'll see a blog that's
by whom?
it's of2minds.com is the name of the website. But what it has on it is it has actual pictures from hospitals from 1952. So here's the maternity rates. They have these like on mimeograph pieces of paper. Maternity rates. Wards starting at $14.
Meaning like per night?
Yeah. Semi-private starting at $16. Deluxe private room, $23. So the difference between being in the ward with your baby or whatever, I assume they had up screens or that sort of thing, was $9.
Yeah, but Mark, that's not fair, right? Because money was worth more back then,
Sure,
right?
money was worth a lot more. But it costs $10,000 to have a baby at a hospital these days. Are you telling me that you think that $23 was worth $10,000?
No.
No. I mean, maybe $230. They actually do the math.
I was
here
just playing devil's advocate
in the blog, right? And medical science has gotten better. There's no doubt about it. But how many areas do you see prices skyrocketing that the government isn't thoroughly involved in?
Right. Normally,
it's regulation.
Normally, if a product or service improves, and that's usually because of competition, the price tends to go down due to open market competition. But the healthcare industry is not an open marketplace. It's highly regulated.
Well, some people say the technology improving is the cause of the healthcare prices going up.
Well,
because these machines are more technical, they're more expensive.
They should get cheaper. I mean, as machines get developed and improved over time, they get smaller, they get more efficient, they get more power efficient, and they get new factors brought in. Like the computer industry is a perfect example of this. You can spend $1,000 on a computer today and have a much more powerful computer than $1,000 would have bought you 10 or 20 years ago.
Right, and it should what it should be doing is equipment should be becoming less costly over time. And you're not seeing things like that. You're seeing aspirin and saline solution going for hundreds of dollars. And what they're trying to mask is the cost of regulation and the cost of litigation. Now, litigation is people say, going after it's really, 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 really difficult for a doctor to protect themselves in the areas of prenatal, these OBGYNs. It's the insurance is what just drives them. And in many cases, this is all has to do with the legal system. If there were better systems for arbitrating disputes rather than the monopoly government system, which is essentially intended to, drag things out for a settlement. If a doctor is clearly in the right and a patient's just bringing a suit against them, the insurance company shouldn't be settling. It should not cost them so much to fight it that it's just easier to settle it. Does that make sense? We should have a quick arbitration. Wham! Oh, turns out, it looks like the doctor did a pretty good job here. And everybody makes mistakes, and that's one of the things about having a kid. Sorry about that. Well, it's a dangerous activity.
My understanding, too, of the pricing structure, I think is it Medicaid or Medicare? They establish all the prices because all the insurance companies will say, oh, it's $500 Medicare plus X. Mm-hmm. So it's like the government sets all the prices there. So there's all kinds of messed up things going on.
The government does set pricing as far as healthcare goes. So, ultimately, if you get the government out of healthcare, you're going to see a huge drop in costs. If you allow,
that's why it's an impossible solution, right?
If you allow, it's I think it's impossible to get. It's easier to get out of the government than it is to get the government out of medical.
Secession now.
I'm for secession, but I don't think you even look at how complicated it can be. It's easier to look at state level.
It's not that
laws.
complicated. It's not easy, but it's not. It's very simple to secede. You have the state legislature make a decision to put a constitutional amendment or something like that on the ballot, or they put forth a statute or whatever that says we declare that we're leaving the United States, and then hopefully people will vote for it. That's pretty simple.
You just like the chaos that's around that. It doesn't have
chaos. No, it will bring more peace if we can secede, because will have not have the federal government destroying people's lives.
You want the conversation. You know people aren't going to secede because they have Social Security checks. The vast majority of people who vote are old, and
that's true.
The old people want their Social Security checks. They've paid in for decades to the federal government.
Right, they can move to Florida.
And when they leave, they don't want to move when you say to move.
They'll want to move after secession gets passed in New Hampshire.
This is why I call it an impossible solution. Is because everybody's got some cockamamie
wait a second now
idea surrounding
so
it.
So if you're on Social Security and you move to another country, I still think you get your check.
That's a question I was wondering too.
So the people in New Hampshire, if New Hampshire was its own country, shouldn't they keep getting the check?
I would say that the federal government is highly unlikely to pay out checks to anybody who lives in the geographic area of New Hampshire. And
just to punish them for seceding?
That would also cause the people who are, yes, absolutely. You don't think there'd be some kind of punishment for your secession? The last time they shot the hell out of people, they killed hundreds of thousands of people over it.
Yeah, but they're not going to get away with that same violence, I don't think, this time around.
They're just going to take your Social Security check.
Fine. I have no obligation to pay into it, and I'm not interested in collecting from it, so it's okay with me. And I would hope that those grandparents who are currently receiving the Social Security check would understand that not having the federal government around will be good for their children and their grandchildren. Hopefully they'll have some compassion for their own family members.
Yeah. I can tell you that the federal government doesn't have any business, according to the Constitution, writing this up. This is a state-level thing. The reason that the federal government...
Writing what up?
Writing up the Obamacare.
I don't understand what you're saying. It's already here. Obamacare is happening.
It's unconstitutional. The Supreme Court says that it isn't because it's a tax, but
Well, they decide what's unconstitutional.
I know.
That
we
means
live in a
it's
world
here to stay.
Yeah, I just don't disagree. I say leave the United States.
Yeah, it's not here to stay though. It's going to result likely in continuing buyouts of insurance companies because essentially it guarantees.
Well, it's designed to fail, and when it does fail, then the federal government becomes single payer.
And the reason, let me explain how that
destroys inventiveness.
Let me explain how it's designed to fail, though. So the idea is that it's going to mandate people buy insurance. Okay, well, that sounds like that would be a good thing for the insurance companies, and in the short term, it will be. The insurance companies charge more for the insurance, as they are doing, and they get mandatory business, so they get new clients. So that's good for them short term. But it also requires that they take on people with pre-existing conditions. And so when they take on people with pre-existing conditions, that means they're going to be paying out more than they paid out previously. And odds are good that they're going to, it's not going to work out for them. They're going to sell their businesses to the bigger insurance companies. Insurance companies are going to consolidate down to just a few players. There already aren't very many of them.
Unless they allow insurance companies to compete across state lines, which currently they cannot.
So fewer and fewer players in the insurance business means that they're going to sell. And so before you know it, you're going to have like one or two of them left. And ultimately, if the costs are too high of all these pre-existing conditions that they've got to cover, they're going to throw their hands up in the air and say, we can't do this anymore, and that's when the government can come in and subsume the entire industry and launch a single-payer healthcare. Because then the government will be able to say, hey, look, these insurance companies just can't handle healthcare, so we're going to have to take it over.
Healthcare is just one of those areas where you can't make a profit.
But market failure. Market failure.
Yep, that's what they'll do after they've caused the market to fail.
Right.
They will call it a market failure, as they do all the time.
So that's my prediction.
Yeah, I was in Mexico, and a doctor visit, I think, was $5.
Incredible. I know Ademo Freeman, who we actually had on the show earlier tonight, he went down to Tijuana to get his dental work done there because it's a fraction of the price and purportedly as good as the work in the United States.
A lot of people do go outside the United States for this kind of work. Many times they'll go to Southeast Asia. And there's actually a hospital in Oklahoma City that offers free market medical care, too.
If you want to join us here, our toll-free number is 855-450-FREE, whether it's medical care or your calls and thoughts. Also, we got more on drones coming up.
Are you searching for your soulmate? Someone you can trust, who will never betray you? Or cooperate with the NSA? Stop searching. With EasyDNS, you found a keeper. EasyDNS does it all. Domain names, web hosting, and managed WordPress hosting. EasyDNS stands up for your internet freedom. And with servers in Canada, they do not cooperate with the NSA. Go to EasyDNS.com. You'll love their services or get a full refund. They guarantee it. And they accept Bitcoin. That's EasyDNS.com.
If you expect secure, privacy-oriented services and real human support from your web hosting provider, choose Virtual Space International. From domain names and SSL certificates to offshore banking accounts, Virtual Space International has been the all-in-one, multi-language solution for over 25 years. And satisfaction is guaranteed or your money back. We even accept Bitcoin. Find out how to get 50% off for life at SaveTimeHosting.com.
The human body is more than 60% water. Your brain and muscles are 75% water. And your blood is 92% water. Water's vital to your body, and alkalizing your water is the key to keep it running at its best. AlkaVision Plasma pH drops keep your entire body healthy, boosts energy, promotes weight loss, and even fights cancer. Call 800-518-7615 or go to alkavision.com to find out more. That's ALKAvision.com.
My dad was 59 when he collapsed from a heart attack late last year. Just this past August was when we spread his ashes on the St. Croix River. I loved my dad, but boy was he stubborn. He hadn't been to the doctor in over 25 years. His excuse? He simply couldn't afford it. He wasn't a rich man by any means. At less than $107 per month, LibertyOnCall.org would have been the perfect alternative for my father. Don't wait. Go to LibertyOnCall.org right now, for not just your sake, but for the sake of your loved ones. Again, that's LibertyOnCall.org.
What if the key to achieving liberty in your lifetime was to move together with others who think like you? Liberty activists are joining the Free State Project, which is over 85% of the way to its goal of 20,000 participants. And they're already making the move to New Hampshire. The successes are piling up and are proving the Free State Project is a real movement and no longer just a great idea. When you're planning your move, consider Keene. Keene is famous for its civil disobedience and non-cooperation, and there's plenty of political opportunity as well. If you're a regular reader of freekeene.com, you know there's a lot going on in Keene. Keene is the liberty media capital of the world, with television, talk radio, and more, all originating here. Though it's more than just activism, with regular social events each week. See what's happening at freekeene.com and get connected with video, audio, free books, a forum, and activist tools you can download and use in your area at freekeene.com. That's freekeene.com.
The three most important things you can do for Free Talk Live are: 1, share one episode a week on Facebook or in some other social networking site. 2, buy the things you buy online through shop.freetalklive.com. 3, give $5 a month to the AMP program. You likely buy all kinds of things online. Amazon is the largest online retailer. You can get what you need at the same prices with free Super Saver shipping by going to shop.freetalklive.com. Please do your online shopping at shop.freetalklive.com.
Are you a political activist who does things that the government might not like? Then this free ebook may save your life. Rats is your guide to protecting yourself against snitches, informers, informants, agents provocateur, narcs, finks, and similar vermin. Rats was written by OG libertarian Claire Wolfe. Rats is a short book, easy to read, and available free in many formats. Download Rats free at rats-nosnitch.com. That's rats-nosnitch.com.
You can connect with the Liberty Radio Network via our Facebook page at facebook.lrn.fm. That's facebook.lrn.fm.
Oh yeah, it is Free Talk Live. You can join us here in the remaining moments, which are happening now. Our toll-free number is 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733. We've got Skype. Skype username is lrn.fm. Joining you in the studio tonight, you've got me, Ian.
And James.
And Mark.
And don't forget, you can go online. Check out our brand new website. Last time we redesigned the site was back in 2010, so it'd been half a decade. Time for a facelift, an upgrade, if you will. Go and check out freetalklive.com. One of the newest additions. We still have the user voting, so you can still vote and submit suggested topics for us to discuss on the air. That's still there. over at freetalklive.com. But now you'll notice next to that there's a new tab, FTL News, which includes blog posts. Right now, Mark, you're blogging fairly actively for Free Talk Live. You're just kind of getting started. You've never really done blogging before.
Still figuring it out.
So, yeah, you get to watch Mark try to figure out how to blog over at freetalklive.com. Now, that is an attraction. So check that out. And, of course, the site's still free. It's still free. You can go and download as many shows as you want, back to all the way to 2006, so nearly a decade's worth of programs right there hosted through our site. And, of course, all the interactivity. You can comment on shows and do all that stuff. It's totally free, so please go and enjoy it at freetalklive.com. If you like Free Talk Live, if you like the new website, please amp Free Talk Live. Go to amp.freetalklive.com. It stands for Advertise, Market, and Promote. Your amp dollars, $5 a month, that's all we ask for. $5 a month is put toward the show to invest into Free Talk Live, to get on more radio stations around the country, to bring more internet listeners on board, to expand our satellite footprint, to bring new people to the ideas of liberty. So if these ideas are valuable to you, this is the best way, in my opinion, for you to put your charitable dollar to work. Become an amplifier. You can do it for more than $5 a month, too, if you feel so inclined. Go to amp.freetalklive.com. You can be a guinea pig on our new AMP system that we have designed. It's also a new part of the site. The entire site has been redone. So go to amp.freetalklive.com, amp.freetalklive.com. Scott is listening in South Carolina, in Charleston. Hey, Scott, you're on Free Talk Live.
Good evening, gentlemen.
Welcome.
I don't have the internet. I'm very thankful to get you on Saturday and Sunday nights here for 3 hours.
Something you can do, by the way, if I appreciate your gratitude, but something you could do for us if you want is to contact the radio station there and talk to the program director and tell him thanks for airing Free Talk Live. I'm sure he'd appreciate hearing from you.
Hold on 1 second. I'm putting my baseball bat by the door. I'm going over there in the morning. Seriously, though, I really do enjoy the show. Great show last night. Couldn't get in at the end. You had a very nice lady from Washington State call in. She had a little trouble in Canada.
Oh, the 70-year-old lady who was accosted and assaulted by a mounted police officer in Canada for a traffic snafu that the RCMP, who was off duty at the time, happened to be noticing because he was at some sort of restaurant or whatever. He saw it happen and then went over and proceeded to threaten her and ticketed her and then proceeded to arrest her or something like that. It was ridiculous.
She had a very compelling story, and it just does my heart good to know that there are very smart, intelligent 70-year-old ladies listening.
Thank you.
That's a compliment to you guys that you're reaching and holding an audience. Again, I missed the first hour last night. Have you guys touched on the New York City police in the last 2 days?
No. What's been going on there? What kind of abuse is now?
Well, actually, I think it's good news. It was on the front page of the New York Post yesterday. Starting January 1st, the New York Post is going to allow, and Mark, you touched on this last night, officer discretion on cuffing people in the front. And I've believed in this for a long time, that not cuffing people in the back. I have shoulder issues.
Yep.
And I've never been handcuffed, let alone handcuffed in the back.
It's never comfortable. I've been handcuffed a number of times for civil disobedience and other non-violent, peaceful acts. And it's never an easy thing, especially when you get into the car and then you're in these hard seats in a lot of these cases in these cop cars. In the back, they got the hard seat in case someone pees or pukes.
Keep getting smaller and smaller, the cop cars. Ian, I've seen you on YouTube. You're kind of like an average to slim guy.
I'm real slim, actually. I'm pretty skinny.
I'm thinking the bigger you get, like I am, I'm not big, but those cuffs don't adjust, and
they do adjust.
And I've got.
The cuffs do adjust. Good. They can adjust them for the size of your wrists, and arguably, it's not going to be comfortable for anybody. But for a skinny guy, those cuffs are going to touch. They're going to hit your bones in a lot of cases, and it's not particularly.
What I'm talking about is your shoulders. The chain is the same length. Depending on how wide your shoulders are.
Yeah, if you're a big man, it's going to be. There's more to get around.
I see what you're saying there. Yeah, that's true.
But if you go back, you see black and white photos of John Dillinger. He's got the handcuffs in the front. Al Capone, handcuffs in the front. my theory is everybody gets handcuffs in the back, gets manacles and shackles, whether you're 12-year-old or 80-year-old lady, just to prove that females can be just as effective police officers, court officers, bailiffs, correction officers as anyone else. That's why we see 80-year-old grandmothers, hauling this metal around. And
you believe it has something to do with proving female officers?
Yes.
Capability? Yeah. I don't see that.
Flesh that out.
That doesn't make sense to me.
I will. Years ago, to be a New York City policeman, you had to be 5'10" or 6 feet, and they changed it over time. Now you can be 4'10" and a 100-pound female and be a New York City police officer. Now you get punched in the face and they take your gun, and then you retire on disability. I mean, it's not a jobs program. And listen, I'm not pro-police and all that, but, come on.
That's not a persuasive argument, in my opinion.
I think the better argument would be it's easier to manipulate things with your hands if they're in front of you. I saw a guy, he was walking with a cane, so basically he had like one thing like attached to the front, and then he's walking with his cane, and he was able to somehow like he was the guy, he was showing me he removed his cuffs like in the back of the paddy wagon, and
it's easier to grab a cop's weapon if you're handcuffed in the front as well.
And we were all a disadvantage to him.
80-year-old women need to be manacled and checked.
I'm not saying that.
I agree with both of your points. I just don't necessarily agree that they were related.
Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you, Scott. Thank you for the call tonight. I do appreciate hearing from you.
If I was going to hire a bouncer for my bar, or I hired a bodyguard for some event or something like that, I'm not going to likely, you're going to have to really convince me. The gal who wants to be a bodyguard or a bouncer is going to have to go farther to convince me that she's capable of doing the job than the big guy who's, well, in the case of a bodyguard, just able to put more meat between me and a bullet. In the case of a bouncer, is just going to look more persuasive to a big drunk guy. That's just this is what the free market wants in the area of protection services, is it wants big males. Now, I see the point that he's making regarding police and females, women. I think that there's arguments on both sides of that, but I don't
think it has anything to do with the handcuff policy.
I don't think it has much to do with it.
I think KPD,
Keene Police,
when they arrested me, so initially I had the hands behind the back, and then in the processing, I asked him if he could put him in the front, and he did do that.
Never hurts to ask.
Yeah.
It never hurts. Apparently, they didn't have discretion before in New York, and now they have it, so that's good news. Or they're going to have it at the beginning of the year, so I guess that's a slightly positive development there.
They've got federal prisons. They've got state prisons where they don't have walls. They don't have fences. They have lines painted on the ground. And that means, look, you don't necessarily need a police officer, perhaps has the understanding and discretion to know who needs handcuffs and who doesn't need them at all, right? Like sometimes you can just say, all right, you're under arrest. Please get in the car. And that person will get in the car fine. And to pass laws telling police officers what they need and don't need to do, I think is a real problem. I understand why departments may have rules for police officers, but, what are you going to do?
I'm going to put the link to the story from Wired.com about the drone leaks. We basically gave you the most important information, at least according to Wired, about these documents, and that is that they are showing from this new leaker that nobody knows who it is, new leaker revealing docs that shows the primary evidence that as many as 90% of U.S. drone killings in one 5-month period were not the intended target. That a former British citizen was killed in a drone strike despite repeated opportunities to capture him instead, and also the details of the grisly process by which the American government chooses who will die. It sounds awful. There's a full documentation is linked to at the bottom of this story. The full papers that have been released are linked to at the bottom of the story here at the Wired story. So I'm going to put that on our Facebook and our Twitter. And keep following James and his news over at freekeen.com with the Robin Hood case and the case with the arrest that you mentioned. We'll need to follow up on that on the air one of these days, James.
Yep.
We'll see you tomorrow online. In the meantime, freetalklive.com.
Since time began, tyrants have taken aim at personal liberties. Now there's a movie that aims back.
The government has no more right to tell us what to put in our bodies than they have to take our guns or tell us what books we can read.
6 drug police were eaten by bears while raiding a marijuana farm.
On your knees, you dirty hippies! Jesus. On your knees! What's the problem, officer?
Today, many cops who enforce pot laws do so only because it provides them with cushy jobs, good benefits, and a chance to push people around.
I was an undercover narcotics officer. The drug war is nothing but a farce.
The Second Amendment says you got to keep you and your gat intact.
Guns and Weed, The Road to Freedom. A film by Michael W. Dean and Nima Vadadi.
DVD available now at gunsandweed.com or on Amazon. That's gunsandweed.com. Makes the perfect gift. Remember, that's gunsandweed.com.
This is your Robertson Roberts Brokerage Daily Precious Metals Update. In early trading Friday, gold is $2 higher at $1,184 per ounce. Silver is up 2 cents at $16.18 per ounce. Bitcoin is trading at $261 US. Check out our Halloween special on Australian silver spiders, and if you've been looking for silver eagles, we've lowered that price too. Give us a call today at 800-874-9760 or online at rrbi.co.
If you want to know the latest about Free Talk Live before we go on the air, all you need to decide is how you want it delivered. It's your choice. Visit news.freetalklive.com. You can get emailed announcements and participate in contests via our email updates list. Plus, we have a Twitter account that you can follow and a Facebook page where you can become a fan. So visit news.freetalklive.com to get news about Free Talk Live as soon as it's announced and the way you want it delivered at news.freetalklive.com. That's news.freetalklive.com.
This is the Liberty Radio Network, broadcasting the latest liberty-oriented audio content 24 hours a day at LRN.FM.
Every once in a while, you get information that's worth changing your life for. This is one such time. You can save up to and beyond 25% on all purchases at Amazon. You probably heard of Bitcoin and just not thought much about it. You certainly know that you can get competitive pricing at Amazon, but now you can get a 25% discount on nearly everything you need to live. I've just given you a huge raise, and all you have to do is claim it. You go to saveitpurse.com and open an account. Do this right now. Don't wait. Then you fund the account with Bitcoin. I know this sounds unbelievable, but at my house, we saved as much as 45% off of a new item on Amazon. This information is worth you changing the way you do things. Go to saveitpurse.com right now, get signed up, and cash in on the huge raise I'm offering you. 15 to 25% off of everything at Amazon through saveitpurse.com. It's saveatpurse.com. The 3 most important things you can do for LRN.FM are: 1. Let your friends know you're listening to LRN.FM on your social networking profile. 2. Buy the things you buy online through shop.lrn.fm. 3. Give $5 a month to the AMP program at amp.lrn.fm. It's my firm belief that the AMP program is the best use of your charitable dollar among liberty-oriented groups. Support all your favorite organizations, but make sure you give $5 a month to the AMP program at amp.lrn.fm. If you have a business, you know that IT can be frustrating, but it doesn't have to be. IT can serve your needs reliably, predictably, and on time. Rootwork Infotech helps businesses achieve always-on reliability. Their nerds know business and can meet your needs. To prove it, they'll give you 30 minutes on the phone with a senior consultant for free to answer any of your IT questions. Just go to rootwork.it/FTL to get your free call. That's ROOT work.it/FTL.
While our satellite channel is free to listen to, it's not free for us. You can help us cover our satellite costs with the chip-in on the right side of the page at LRN.FM. The latest episode of the Edgington Post is next here on the Liberty Radio Network at LRN.FM. Download it and listen to more at freetalklive.com.
All right, it's another edition of the Edgington Post show. I just ran into Loy Bronson here, and he was walking out of the Trump speech, which was broadcast on CNN. And Loy, hold that microphone right up to your face, yeah. And you got your question was heard right on CNN, right?
Yes, it was the second question. A friend called me on the phone and said that he just saw it on CNN, and apparently it was on MSNBC as well, and possibly some other networks.
So, first off, what was your impression of Trump's speech, just generally?
Gosh. It was okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
So tell me your question.
I think there are a lot of great things about him. But,
okay.
Yeah. So, but I have a problem with all the presidential candidates because they do not have a fundamental, in my opinion, they don't have a fundamental grasp of economics, simple monetary policy.
Okay.
And so my question was, I said, Ron Paul was talking about a $1.6 trillion fictitious debt. And he was being interviewed by Lori Rothman on Fox. And she says, but Ron, it's not fictitious because the financial markets own that. And so I thought Ron would come back with, hey, you just proved my point, because those are assets, and the financial market bankers own those assets that were created out of nothing. So I said, this is confusing, and I just sort of gave him the question, how would you explain that to people? And then I also said JFK and President Abraham Lincoln both created United States note dollars. They created money, which there was no need for taxation, no need to borrow, because the government owned what they created. So basically, the government is not owning the money that's created. Bankers are owning it.
And do you want the government to own the money that's created?
That would be a step towards the right direction.
You really think so? Like politicians?
Yes, because
these presidential candidates, you say, that don't understand economic policy, you want them to be able to create money and put...
That's a step closer to control of the people over them and oversight. At least we would see what was happening, and then maybe the people would wake up and kick them all out of office. But right now it's behind closed doors. For example, there are at least $13 trillion that are on the books of the Fed, the balance sheet that shows they went somewhere, and a congressman was in a congressional hearing asking one of the executives with the Federal Reserve where the money went, and they said we contractually cannot disclose the identities of this money. We're talking $13 trillion. What is that? $50,000 at least for every man, woman, and child in America.
Something like that. Yeah.
So if the Congress were doing it, believe me, the people would come alive. The people would see what was going on, and then they would at least have an opportunity to do something. Whereas right now it's behind closed doors. How many trillions have they created and purchased global companies and assets that we have no information about because it's done in secret?
So I agree with you up until the point that we say that we turn this over to people that would, to politicians. I don't think that people would come alive, Loy.
Right.
They've never come alive before when governments have controlled monetary policy. They didn't come alive when the Benson Wood Accords were put in place, and was it Benson Wood? Am I saying that right? Yeah. Anyway, I'm not saying that right. Bretton Woods Accords were put in place, and people generally find economic policy confusing, and they run away from it.
Right. Well, we have a lot of media confusion too. It's just really polarized. Now,
I barely understand it. I don't understand it.
But wait a second. A couple of weeks ago, I was in the offices of Congressman Grayson and Mike Lee, and they were both on the same page to raise public awareness about this problem. So I think it can be done. I think people can learn and know what's happening, and then let the people decide what they want to do about it. But it's certainly, it couldn't be worse than it is now, because limitless amounts of money are going off of our shores to foreign entities. It could be going to ISIS. If you take out $10,000 in a bank, cash, they want to know where it went. Well, how about $14 trillion? Where did that go? Did that go into the hands of ISIS and other enemies of the United States?
I doubt that that's the case, but it could be, I suppose.
You have an idea of where the $14 trillion went?
The pockets of rich bankers would be my guess.
Would they be citizens of this country?
Who cares what citizens of what country they're from? They're just thieves.
Exactly. Well, $14 trillion is enough money to win a war against us. So that's a pretty significant amount of money.
It's not us. Look, the people that sign up to fight for these politicians, it's not for them. They're just bullet catchers.
The recipients of the money can be enemies. It could be going to enemies that are building up forces that could cause us damage.
I think that the politicians are our enemies, Loy. That's the point I'm trying to make to you. You want to give them the ability to make money.
But their bosses are the people that get this money. We're going to the root of the problem.
Money should be free. And in the same way that it was when this country was created, they had Spanish doubloons, which were, if the government takes weights and measures, all right, I'm fine with that. But gold was the currency, silver was the currency, Bitcoin, things of value is what people would use with currency in the place of politicians deciding, who's going to make the money. Because if you give the power to make money to politicians, in 100 years, they will give it to bankers.
Well, that's a whole
because that's what they did.
That's a whole other story. Exactly, corrupt politicians. Absolutely.
If
do you feel like we should follow the Constitution? That our that people are bound to uphold and follow and obey.
Have they done it so far?
Well, are you familiar with the parts of the Constitution that talk about money?